Just be very
I was
cautious.
about to
Be
tell a
very
funny story
cautious of
about
what you say
when
next. I hit.
the button. Because I was about to say, when I ordered some shoes and went to the wrong house and they tried to tell me they ain't have it.
Ooh.
And then the wife says, "Oh, these?" I was like,
That's
they're
just
yours.
cruddy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, and I was like, I have proof of delivery. Here's the picture. They were sitting on this porch at this time, and I literally came as soon as I got this notification because I tried to stop
would
it.
have been mad. Now, if that happened with a belt,
Well, you know
Oh,
what happened
gosh.
to a belt one time, right? I had to
What?
deliver it to my father's house because I knew somebody would always be home, and that's when they first started putting them in them long boxes.
yeah.
And I got the picture of it sitting up against the door, so I immediately called and was like, "Hey, my package is there." And I went to the door, and my stepmother was like, "It's nothing here." Like literally in those moments, like from me getting there, let's say at 107 to her checking at like 110, it was gone. So I'm almost sure that the somebody was either watching or the person was like, "Yeah, let me take this picture for proof," and went off with my Raw Tag Team Championship.
Oh no.
But they replaced it.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the worst though. Like, don't make it so obvious. Remember when Nike was sending shoes and they would just send
Bro.
them?
And they used to put the freaking Nike tape on the box.
Oh my! Oh, the
Now we
Jordan
keep-
sticker on it.
Yeah, that's
Jordan.
why.
You had Jordan.
Bro.
I was like, "Yep, not doing this ever again."
It's like, do you not know who your customer fan base is? Like, why? Nowhere anybody.
They should have been the most plainest box that you thought it was just a regular old delivery, but they put the big old Nike sign on the side.
Bro.
And everything.
They taped it from the rooter to the tutor with Nike tape.
So, yeah, and made sure you could tell it was Nike tape. There was no ifs, ands, or buts.
We have to
Like
brand.
everybody could tell.
Just
Like
do
everybody
it.
could tell them
Big
T-Mobile
letters
boxes
going
Everybody
across the
could-
box. Just do it. But with that being said, do not adjust your screens, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you are seeing the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. Now, usually this is the time where championship culture and Brother Guy will get on and say, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to championship culture. But we are switching things up for a very special night. And for tonight only, the Wrestling Realm podcast will take the time slot of championship culture. And tomorrow, during the slated time slot for for the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, we will have championship culture for this week. And with that being said, there also will be a special announcement about championship culture during our time, since we did a little bit of schedule change. But we are still here and we are back. Brother Hugh is not here. He is on a yacht right now, and I'm sure he's going to get back to us about how that's going. But yes, we have to answer the $1 million question of this time of year, and that is, who is going to be the 2025 King of the Ring? We finally have the mentor versus the mentee. All that and more, Night of Champions, and a few special things coming up as well. So on this special Tuesday at 8 p.m. at a special time, sit back and relax and enjoy the show. For those who are not used to us being on this early, and guess what? We might not be on that long, but Brian, don't hold your breath. Here we go. Let's go.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes! What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
On a special Tuesday, welcome to the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into professional wrestling. Now, I am your host, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen, in the building tonight, and he is your host, super producer, Brother Hugh, A to the S, T to the A to the E, 3 to the R to the D. Brother Hugh has the third, who is not in the building, but we will explain why. And he is your host, not just any guy, but the belt guy, the belt king himself. Brandon, the guy is in the building, and he is your host, the founder, the heart and soul of the man that discovered us all, but yet still a heel in 2025.
Hollywood.
Brian H. Waters in the building. Brothers, welcome to a special Tuesday edition at a special time of the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. Now, we're dealing with a little bit of global turmoil, but that will not stop us from getting into tonight's conversation because we have to discuss. Stop. I'm trying to be serious, Brian H. You disrupted me.
What's up,
Night of
fresh,
Champions.
baby? I saw turn now.
We have to discuss Night of Champions because we need to figure out who is going to be the king of the ring. Now, don't get me wrong. We will discuss the entire card, and I'm not being biased against the women, but this year's King of the Ring final is a very, very special one. It is the Legend Killer, the Viper, the Apex Predator, Randy Orton versus the Cody, Raheem Rhodes for the final to determine who will be this year's King of the Ring. There's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot of history here, and I think I've enjoyed the technicality that has given us this opportunity early without Randy Orton having to turn heel and having to, beat up babyface Cody. But yeah, it's still early. It's all right.
What do you think Cody was doing on Thursday?
Let me see. For Juneteenth, he's probably a little red, black, and green. Celebrating his freedom. His wife just turned 42. Happy birthday to Brandy Rhodes.
Your goddaughter text me.
She asked you, what do you think he's doing on Juneteenth?
No, she just said, happy Juneteenth. How does it feel to be free?
And okay. I popped. Oh, God bless the children. Well, listen, I'll tell you one thing, though. She definitely ain't lying about that.
He ain't lying.
So, how does it feel to be free? But how you guys feeling today? How you guys feeling to be free?
My brother, I am 24 hours away from vacation.
Nah, that's not a vacation. You about to take a trek.
No, I said
the landscape.
It's a vacation. I gassed up the Ultima. I got it serviced. I got it ready. And we're ready to hit the road. Styling. Woo! And profiling.
It sounds like somebody's headed to Flair Country. We've been there once or twice.
Yeah.
What about you, the guy? How you feeling? You feeling good today, buddy? I see a lot of belts behind you, as usual. So that's you have a lot of big eagles behind you. You got 3. Am I counting 3?
2.
What's that one right there? No, it's 3. It's one at the bottom. What is that one at the bottom?
That's the WCW, right?
Yeah, that's the WCW. The Ron Simmons.
Okay. I have one contact in. Don't fault me. I'm sorry. Brother guy, how you feeling?
Oh man.
Yeah, that's right. Eyes not working with me today.
That's why you said you had a lot of big eagles behind you.
I was like, wait a minute. When did you get a third one?
No, the blue and the black one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yours is still sitting here on the floor.
I haven't.
Oh yeah, you forgot that whole conversation.
I did. I remembered it, but I didn't know. I almost bought one today. I'm glad I didn't.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. Got a message back on eBay and everything.
Oh, did you? Which version? Which one?
It is in between. It's the Jmar 2K version. Probably when The Rock held it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Let me see the one that's on the floor. Since you said that's supposed to be mine, I want to see it. Now I want to see it. Sorry, folks, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna have to just bear with me because before we get the show started, let me see it.
It is a Tuesday.
It is a Tuesday. Oh yeah.
There's nothing wrong with a belt talk in there.
Yeah,
oh,
it's really not.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Ooh, wait till you see what I do with that one. I've been planning something in my head. It was gonna be a surprise.
I can only say it like Brother Hugh. So Brother Hugh just tagged in.
Go ahead.
That leather is scrumptious.
but it doesn't have a tip.
The only thing it's missing is a tip. Crazy part is the funny part was as soon as you showed the belt, Brian was like, that was the genuine belt person response.
That was definitely ooh.
And if you're watching NXT, you say the same thing right now.
Miss Parker. But brother guy, I'm sorry. I at some point one day we're gonna get through this entire front part being professional, but I can't make any promises. How are you feeling today, brother guy?
It's never gonna happen.
My day is that much better knowing that big ego that you just couldn't get over, that it has to go to a good home. But go ahead. Tell us how you feel.
Yeah, and I'm mad you didn't notice this.
Which one?
I was waiting for you to notice this, but you said something about it. But other than that, I'm gonna leave that for another
No.
episode of Championship Culture. No.
We got to have a slight belt conversation today because this is the championship belt. This is the championship culture time slot, right?
Mhm.
And at some point, since we have to do the show tomorrow, like I said, it fits into the conversation.
Yep.
I have no problem. Let me clarify. I have no problem. We can go into detail about this tomorrow. Hopefully, we're not on there for number 3. I know y'all shows usually quick, but you know when the realness gets on, I'm a little bit long with it.
I think you had the longest show ever. That 3 hours.
I might try to break a record. Brian H. You think I can do it? Because Brian H. like,
if
bro,
y'all still going by the time I get up in the morning and hit the road.
I'm just saying.
When I tell you that thing, we all looked at it. We said he gonna say, "Let's spend 2.5 hours." Might as well go 2:45.
Something about
Then it
the
was like,
ways,
might as
'cause
well
my
go
cousin
3.
did the same thing.
Oh my gosh! But yeah, it's Tuesday, and usually we're talking about some belts. So, it's interesting to see the Wrestling Realm Now podcast on a Tuesday.
It's
right.
It's only fitting. It's like, I don't know, it's just a little schedule swap, but I have no problem with that navy blue belt, the navy blue Big Eagle. That was the original. Like that was the original first Big Eagle crossover from the Winged Eagle to the Next Generation, which was the Attitude Era Championship or the symbol for it. Now, here's the thing though. I'd never have liked how so many belt makers and creators, oh my gosh.
Continue. How many belt makers and creators did what? I'm sorry.
No. When they make it, the navy blue is too light. It was always a darker navy blue, not that eggshell blue like we going swimming. They always make it too light. Even the WWE shop version, I don't like. I say that's still too light of a navy blue. It's got to be a tad bit darker than that. It's not.
It's got to be almost like. It's got to be almost like black. Like you got to look at me like, oh, that's blue.
It's got to be like 2 shades above black. Like
yeah.
Purple. Not as purple as the ugly oval IC title. But listen, we're not going to get into all those debates and have any arguments because we have a lot.
We're not going to talk about does the strap matter?
Now, here's the thing. Around this time, because there's no notes this week, it's because we're doing the Wrestling Realm Now podcast before Championship Culture. I feel bad because usually that's one of my shticks. That's one of my segments. I've got notes, but Brother Guy was not here to have a conversation about it. And he seemed to be offended by some of the comments I made last week as far as my unpopular opinion. And I made it very clear that I do not like light blue or turquoise belt straps on championships. Mind you, that same week, Championship Culture did a deep dive into this championship as Brother Guy had it up there. It was a close look at TNA's new international championship. Now he wasn't here to rebuttal because, like I said, he was he was on a missions trip. But it's okay though. He's back here now. And usually this time of the show, we always talk about and make an announcement in regards to what happened on season 4 of Championship Culture. So let's take that opportunity to give Brother Guy a chance to make a few comments about maybe my particular unpopular opinion. And after that, we're also going to make an announcement about tomorrow's show on Championship Culture. All right, Brother Guy, let's have it.
Oh, okay. So, it's crazy that I understand realness doesn't like change. I get it. But how do you not like an establishment of something? Because this belt was being established on this color strap. It's not like in prior times where it's not like in prior times where a belt existed and there was a custom strap for that person. And I can understand why you don't like that. But we've only ever seen this color on the Stardom belt. We've only seen this color close to that on the intergender. Oh man, I'm escaping the red and blue strap for. Oh man, I'm forgetting the intergender tag belts that they had on the NDC.
The blue is blinding your words. You can't even remember because of how blue and bright it is.
But for it to be establishing this as that, and it's the other title, as we've always talked about, the other title just generally has a different color strap. The green, European, the cruiserweight in purple. I can go, let's go on. And I know the light blue we established with the Intercontinental, but not a lot of people associate that strap. They associate the white strap with the Intercontinental. So I didn't understand how you could say it didn't belong when it was establishing. Now, don't get me wrong. I've seen the black on a black strap. Didn't necessarily hate it, but I was okay with it because it's a great looking belt. Now, if the belt didn't look that good and it was on this strap, I would say terrible idea. But I think the belt itself enhances the strap color.
Okay. And you know what? You're probably right about that. You know, it's got a nice little color pop to the middle of it. See, I can be unbiased about certain things, but as I choose to be biased, I just don't see. I'm gonna tell you how bad it is when it comes to that color blue. I don't even like it when those globes are that light blue.
Really? Would you prefer the red?
No, I just like the darker blue. So, like, if you look at Brian H's background, he has an Intercontinental Championship, right? It's a darker blue. I've always preferred my championships darker blue. Now, in the situation like I talked about as far as the Big Eagle is concerned, it's a lighter blue. I'm okay with it because that's how they originally created it. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't like it because I don't like that blue. No, I'm fine with it. But I prefer, like, when I see belt makers and I'm looking for like a block logo IC title, I'm like, no, I need to get one that has that deeper blue, like the original championship that they sold as far as the replica is concerned. Because that's just a personal preference. Now, back to what we said before. Let me see that Big Eagle again, because that's just this. I don't like how you putting that on the floor now. Tell the people why you put it on the floor. You said it was like on the floor. Now let me show. I'm gonna show you something, brother guy. This is like I said, it's like a championship culture double preview. This is how serious I was earlier. Like I was studying. I was like, okay, I'm looking at The Rock, and then I was looking. I told you I came close. And I was like, because I'm looking at the details. I'm looking at the J-Mar. At first, I never liked customizers doing this. Now I was like, why are y'all doing this? Whatever the case may be. As far as like this, the extra plate, I was looking at the original replica that they put out. And I said that should be the standard in which I'm looking for. If I can't get my hands on the original 2001 figures toy code, right?
I really thought
so
that was
okay.
For a change.
It listen to me. This is my giant iPad. So the only reason I got comfortable with this, because I kept, everybody doesn't do a good job. Everybody's not as accurate. Only reason I got comfortable with it was because I saw The Rock's version and I was like, okay, this is like that 2001, 2002 version. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty accurate to this part of it all. So I was okay with it. So I kind of make my nudge. Now tell the people as a belt person, why exactly you have said this home. It's not that you didn't want it, because we don't speak that way about championship belts. You said this championship belt in particular needs a new home because you have two of them on the wall. You have a navy blue and you have a WWF block, right? It's not a WWE block. Okay. And then you have a new scratch logo, Big Eagle, Attitude Era belt. Now, why does this one on your shoulder need to find a new home with the realness who will take wonderful care to it? Because there's a lineage and a history, and I can't wait to tell this story. But before we get to that point, tell us, as a belt person, why are you so particular about something about that particular championship that you have decided to move forward?
So it's crazy that you would say that, because when it comes to them, remember I said I'll never probably ever take this one out of the house. Because it's on its original strap. It's the original 2mm, and it has sentimental value.
That's the actual like figures toy code. Okay, got it.
So that one would never come out of the house, and I needed one that if I decide, because being a belt maker in Hollywood will tell you, sometimes you want to take a belt that nobody else has, and I really don't see it that often. So when it came time for me to have this one or this,
you got an upgrade.
So I didn't know which one. And I was looking at them, and it was like the blue is what threw me off about them. Because yes, this is that, but see how the looks on this one. I prefer this more than that. Now, equally, they're about the same.
So you prefer the darker blues too. You just gave me the evil eye.
Yeah, on this.
Okay.
But I'm saying when it comes to the Intercontinental, remember I like the oval that had the lighter blue. So that's why, because
just not a purple strap.
Yeah, because remember, it was, to me, this was the granddaddy of them all, and the IC was a stepping stone to it. So I always felt like this was the upgrade to that. And then when I see this, I'm like, it's too close to it, because I wanted to still be able to distinguish. Hence why I said that about these two.
Okay.
And plus, some other little minor differences, but being able to take one out of the house, I would be more comfortable. I'm never taking that one out probably, but unless I see like Stone Cold or The Rock or something.
Yeah, that one's older.
Yeah, definitely that would be signed by them. But this is definitely one of those ones that's. I said,
That's
yeah,
the
I got
real
to find ways.
championship. Okay.
Exactly.
So now, speaking of parting ways, is it this? Did you get those? They by the same belt maker, or what did you? How did you go about making a decision as far as okay, look, I need a new one. I'm not feeling this. I want to upgrade this. You probably got one maybe earlier than the other. What's the thought process behind who actually created it, or did you order from the same belt maker?
So I'm a break. So
Break the fourth wall.
I'm gonna break the fourth. When you're good with certain makers, when things don't go according to the plan, they usually offer it to you at either close to nothing or at a point that you're like, I can't pass it up. Because people will order things, put a deposit down, and not really understand what they're getting, or change their mind and goes to maker. So a lot of times they're looking for a way out, and you can always negotiate. And the price that was paid for both of these don't even equal the price that I probably paid for a regular belt. So it was very good deals. Steal. Yeah, so that's why.
Did you get those at the same time?
Within like the same time frame of each other.
Okay. And by the same belt maker.
This it came with a package deal with an Intercontinental belt, but I didn't like that one, and you're gonna laugh when I tell you which one it is. It had the red logo, Intercontinental. I was
okay. That's early. That was 2001.
I don't have an attachment to that one. You know the original one with the Macho Man with the red
the block logo from the early 80s. Block. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have an attachment to it, so I couldn't really see it. And it would have been a huge package deal. But I was like, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Intercontinental belts right now, and I was like, that one I really don't have a attachment to it. And I didn't want to have a belt in the collection. Another one, I'm like, I just have it just because. Especially trying to come down on the number. So
like Brian H's ECW championship that he was so neglectful towards.
Yeah. But it was a belt, wasn't. So that's why that came about. And plus, I think the crazy part is the stones are different sizes on each one, and it's a slight difference when you get to the details of each one. But I say, you know what? I like the darker one better.
Okay. All right. Well, luckily for everybody on my side of town, aka me, I don't care about those details as long as it is close and accurate and free. Because I was close to pulling the trigger. I told you I've been watching a lot of WWE Superstar Central on A&E, and I was like, I need that championships because I have unfinished business, and I have a very, very, very special way of displaying and telling that story when it comes to that. And I've been mentally putting together in my head, oh boy. So when you said that, I'm like, wait, so because you mentioned it, you said, you know, be like, I think I need another one. It's time to get this in the way, but I didn't know if you were going to pull the trigger or not. But it sounds like you're ready. And
when I say it's on the floor, it's on a belt bag. It's laid in front of. It's on display. Okay. It's not like it's just thrown on the floor for somebody to step on. No, it's actually on top of a belt bag, laid on top of in front of a display. So if you look at the bonus episode of season 1, you might get a glimpse of it. But
see, now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go back and watch it. Go back and look at it again.
There was a couple things in that bonus episode that not a lot of people caught, but it will all be revealed in season 4 of Championship Culture.
And I'm looking forward to that. And there's only one way to express how I feel about this right now. And there you have it. So now, speaking of Championship Culture, we got to move forward, but there is a special announcement that needs to be made. There's something special about tomorrow's show that's taking place at our 10:30 time slot, where this show usually takes place, but it will be a very special episode of Championship Culture. Brother Guy, do you want to tell the folks what's going on particular and why they should be tuning in tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. for season 4 of Championship Culture?
Oh, my brother testify. So this is the point when he usually looks at me, I look at him, we go back and forth. But tomorrow's episode, and it would be important if you are ever watch wrestling, I'm pretty sure you've seen this topic happen. We're going to have this debate, and we're going to settle it between myself and Realness. Is it the Intercontinental or the U.S. title? And all of the questions will be answered as far as which one is the better mid-card title? Which one has a better lineage? Which one overall is just a better belt? And I think that this is the perfect time to have this conversation because we've seen the WWE introduce the women's Intercontinental and US. And we've seen them tread between multiple companies. Well, let me not give too away. We've seen multiple versions and multiple time frames for these belts. So it's time to settle it for once and all. And if anybody's seen it, we know Realness has a passion about these mid-card titles.
Oh, yes, indeed I do.
And more specifically, about that Intercontinental title. I don't know if people are going to know which side he's really on or which side I'm on. But if you tune in tomorrow, you will definitely see which side. I feel like it's going to be like a Captain America versus Iron Man Civil War type of deal.
It's definitely going to be vibes. It's definitely Captain America versus Iron Man. And I'm talking about after they got chased by Black Panther. Like,
so that way they can see.
But
we're looking to change some opinions tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say about that.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Realness himself will be on tomorrow's episode of Championship Culture, where we discuss the Intercontinental Championship versus the United States Championship. Now, this is the point of the show why I usually beg Brother Hugh. I say, Brother Hugh, give us something to look forward to. And he's like, no. He doesn't do anything. But the problem is, Brother Hugh's not here. So guess what? The guy gave me the rundown early, and I'm going to tell the world everything about. Yes, Brother Hugh is going to be flipping on his yacht right now because he has a yacht in San Tropez right now. Chilling. Probably got a couple of dippies with him. So tomorrow's episode of Championship Culture, we will be addressing when it comes to the United States Championship versus the Intercontinental Championship. We will be discussing 4 major categories, 4 rounds, 4 action-packed rounds. We were talking about the belt design, breaking down each and every championship, its history, its lineage, what defined each championship, the moments that came with it, which championship created more stars, which one is celebrated, as well as, let me see, what else do you have on here? Does the different versions help or hurt it? Does the different companies that each championship has found itself in, not necessarily the Intercontinental Championship, is under one umbrella, but we've seen the history of the United States Championship be carried into 3 different companies, 1.5 if you want to consider NWA and WCW an extension of each other. But we're going to answer all these questions and more because, like I said, these are 2 of my favorite championship lineages. And we're going to talk about everything. It's going to be some debates. It's going to be some education. It's going to be some minds changed, turns, flipped upside down, and more. So catch us tomorrow on a very special day, special time slot of Championship Culture, Wednesday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, so there you have it. And then I won't need to have notes, but just for the sake of good old fashioned, I've got notes.
Note to self, never give Realness the rundown.
That was a terrible idea. I can't believe you fell for that. I was like, oh wow, he shouldn't. He gave me this. Brother Hughes going to flip. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I gave the entire show away.
He's wild. He's wild. Oh man, you know that's what you were saying.
For all you belt folks, if you think you have an opinion, if you think we are wrong, if you think you could do a better job, meet us tomorrow right here at 10:30 p.m. live. You're not going to miss. You know, I'm there. Brother Hugh's not here. I'm going to be off the rails, unhinged, and I'm going to be pushing all kinds of buttons because Brother Guys is going to allow me to help produce the show. So there you have it.
Hollywood, this might be almost as impactful as Big Eagle versus Wing Eagle. It might be, and remember, that was a battle. That was an epic showdown. And I think we walked away with the, okay.
It's gonna be a slobber knocker.
And my whole job, my whole objective is to go longer than I did the previous show. So if my record was 3 hours before, I'm trying to go 3 hours and 2 minutes. So
I'm gonna cut it off at 2:99.
just disrupt the whole flow of everything.
Look,
so
I'm gonna say, can't wait to hear yours. Bye.
I should say I'm going to say, and we're back. I don't know if I can do that, but like I said, tomorrow's show is going to be one of those shows. You know, anytime it's a Realness takeover with Championship Culture, man, it's going to be all fun. And we're talking about one of my favorite topics of all time, championship belts. So one of the things that we do here each week is we always prepare our minds. We got to get ourselves in the right place to have the right pro wrestling conversations. And we are fresh into a few days away from WWE's Night of Champions to take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, right? So anytime you have Night of Champions, and I love how they've combined King and Queen of the Ring together with Night of Champions, it just seems fair. It seems fun in such a glamorous city, right? We have to talk about something else that they kind of just slid in there, something that we didn't get a chance to really dig into. But like I said, in order for us to have that conversation properly, we have to watch wrestling all week. That's like a requirement for us, especially as wrestling fans, content creators, hosts, etc., producers, etc., etc. So, as a means to discuss these things, we always do a segment each week called What Did You Watch? Like I said, simply so we can pretty much talk about what we got into this week as we jump into, a few topics just before the main event of tonight's show. So, like I said, without further ado, gentlemen, let's talk about What Did You Watch? Brought to you by our good friends at SeatGeek. If you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use our promo code Wrestling Realm for any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's promo code Wrestling Realm on any one-time purchase of $50 or more. Good brothers, what did you watch? That never gets old, Brian H. Shout out to you. So, who wants to go first? What did you watch this week?
Man, did y'all see that match between Jade Cargill and Roxanne Perez?
What are you saying, Brian H?
It's not your typical false finish to the frenzy match. But it was just some good old wrestling.
Mhm.
You had the dominant force versus the finesse. And just watching those two, if you go in there, you're like, okay, Roxanne is the vet for all things considered. And Jade is still,
cutting her
finding
teeth.
her way. Yeah, but I thought that was one of Jade Cargill's best matches. And it just goes to show me over the course of time, she has just been getting better. Just the little things she was doing, like holding Roxanne, high-fiving the person in the crowd. Obviously I know people like the when she did the lick spot on the side of Roxanne's face. But just watching Roxanne sell, watching Jade be a powerhouse, watching Roxanne work the leg. That's like, to me, Bret Hart vibes.
Mm-hmm.
You look at your opponent's strength and what makes them great, and you use it against them. Matt, shout out to we watched King of the Ring 93. I'm gonna go to King of the Ring 95 when I think back to King of the Ring 94, Bret Hart versus Diesel. Just watching, that was the first time when we got to see those two go at it in the main event. Well, it wasn't the main event. Obviously, they closed the show with the Owen. But just watching Bret Hart work a giant, and that's what I saw in that match. And it was everything. One thing, Brad, was the crowd. The crowd in Columbus was very mid, but it's just, obviously everybody knows I'm very high on Roxanne. I choose to root against Jade Cargill in this thing with Naomi and Bianca because it's fun. But I am a fan of hers, and
because it's fun.
It's fun. It's fun, I mean, I had to sit there next to her, and I ain't going to be like, I'm rooting against you come Saturdays, right? I ain't want to do that, but
sounds like you're being
Hollywood.
as usual.
But overall, it was a good match, and I really enjoyed it. And looked like Ricky Sage just got a win as we're watching NXT.
Fresh off Freedom Day. It's okay. No, I definitely agree with you. She, it was a different. I think everybody. I don't know why it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. It was just like we saw her work a different type of match, not for the first time, but like we're seeing as far as Jade Cargill's development in the ring, not just the moves and the the stuff that we're accustomed to seeing, but just the psychology of it all, how she presented herself, how she took her time, how she sold, and it was like, I think it's always good to do this early because this is how you prevent the same mistake that they made in AEW, where you become too dominant and then it's like, oh crap, well, who's going to beat her? And then you put the mid-card title on her and then not the women's world title. So it's like, all right, this doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So it's like, I got no problem with showing dominant forces that they're human, because that's how you keep your champions, but you still sell a fight. I'll always go back to Ric Flair. Ric Flair's dominance, you would never know that the same person outside the ring was the same person inside the ring. It's because no, you don't have to put it down, brother guy. You can let that championship just hang with you for the rest of the show. Ric Flair used to run his mouth and talk his talk and berate you. Because he was the only one with a microphone. Like, imagine being in the audience and he's talking crazy to you and you can't say anything back to him, right? That's almost the sell job, right? But then Ric Flair gets in that ring and he's almost beaten to an inch of his life, and he's got his hands up and he's begging, and you're like, oh my goodness, the local guy or whoever's the top person in this particular territory is about to beat Ric Flair, and then somehow Flair would win. And it was like, man, his dominance came in his winning, but maybe not in his presentation as far as the matches. And Roman Reigns learned from the school of Ric Flair because he turned around and did the same thing. Like, you watch all Rope. How many matches did we see with Roman Reigns? You were like, oh, he's supposed to lose that match. But of course, he always won on a technicality. Somebody got involved, never got caught. Oh, here you go.
He's the greatest of all time.
Gunther is the same way. If you think about it, he gives you that ability.
He's another one.
He gives you that ability. Oh no, he might lose, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, he pulled out the win. He definitely studied it.
3-4.
Yeah.
Oh, and my champion who just walked on the screen, Obafemi's learning it.
Yeah. They know how to take a beating and stay dominant. That's not easy to do. So it's good, not to be long-winded about it, but I'm agreeing with you, Brian. It's good to see Jade kind of turn that corner. Like, okay, cool. We're seeing her flaws early, and it's not like, okay, she's dominant, but she can be beat. You know what I mean? And it also shows you how good Roxanne Perez is. They're like, okay, these are two of our young guns, and they're going to be huge stars down the line. So, good take. I like that. That was fun. Go ahead, brother guy. What did you watch this week, sir? I'm watching the WWF Big Eagle in the back because I got this whole thing in my head spinning. I'm just putting together ideas. But go ahead.
So it's insane because I'm probably the first person to always say, when somebody goes to WWE, you can always tell we're either getting a watered down version or a held back version of that person, especially if you follow them on the indie scene. So
Daniel Bryan.
So I kind of went down a Jeff Cobb and Jacob Fatu rabbit hole because I feel like the crowd is behind Jacob, but I feel like something is still not there. Like, he'll get going and then he stops. It's that every time I see him stop, I feel like the Triple H is in the head. Slow down. You got to slow down. And when you think you're not going slow, go slower. Because in 2018, and this is take you back to a time pre-MLW World Champion where Jacob Fatu became the bona fide superstar that he is, he wrestled Jeff Cobb. You can tell the difference there versus post his MLW run as champion when he wrestled again in Defy. I think it was APW the first time they wrestled, and it was an arena that had like 200 odd people, whatever it may be. But then in Defy, it was a different take. You could see that they turned it up another notch. And it's crazy because it wasn't a spot fest. It was a good match that, okay, is this what we're going to lead to? Is this what we're getting to? So I kind of went down that hole because I was like, I still feel like Jacob is something being held. Jeff hasn't had enough time in the ring, but we don't know what's going on in the house show circuit. But he has had enough TV time for him to really be unleashed. But the storyline is dictating a slow burn, but we know what Jeff Cobb can do. And it was like, I don't want to say I had to remind myself, but I'm like, I'm still holding on for that moment that unleash Jacob Fatu. You know what I mean? And let him be. And I don't know if Solo is going to get on there because Solo has changed his whole style too. Because remember, I said the same thing about Solo. NXT Solo was a total different beast than what we see now. NXT Solo is like they let the training wheels on and said, go, do what you got to do. And he was a dominant, entertaining force. Jacob is entertaining.
Street champ. Yep.
Yeah. He's entertaining. Don't get me wrong. And the crowd's behind him because they wanted. I feel like the crowd is behind him, like, let us give us our Jacob Fatu we want. And I feel like it's that every time you get going, slow down, go slower, do it slower. But if you want to see, the Defy match was night and day different than the first match. I don't want to say that was the first match, but it was APW, I think it was, in 2018. That match was totally different than that Defy match. Defy match had a lot more going on, but that's what I went down that rabbit hole with them too. And ironically, Jeff Cobb and Will Ospreay came up from the G1, and I was like, I totally forgot about this.
Yeah.
Because I think he was ROH. Was that when he was ROH champion? ROH television champion, right?
I believe
when
so.
When he competed in the G1, I think. But then it came up, and I was like, I can't watch this now. I'm gonna keep going down there because that's one of the ones you're gonna start watching other stuff in that G1. So
Oh yeah, that'd take you down a serious rabbit hole if you can watch it on Daily Motion without getting your identity stolen.
Right.
Yeah, but no, that's
Wait,
that,
they be stealing your identity?
bro. Yeah, Daily Motion. You better check your passwords, bro. Daily
I
Motion.
don't log in.
Don't log in because
Oof.
yeah, they I don't
Overfilled
log in
me up.
either, but do I don't know, but yeah, but Daily Motion was one of, that's why I stopped. I thought it shut down, but then like I was like, oh okay, because that's why
You know
I
what
used
it
to
takes me
watch.
back to?
You said who?
You know what it takes me back? I thought you was getting ready to go there.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. What was you about to say?
I was gonna say, was it Wrestle Kingdom 7? I get the numbers mixed up.
Might have been 8. That was the first
8.
one
Okay, 8. The one
that
with
we like really
yeah.
dug into.
Yeah, that's where it took me back. It took me back there because I couldn't find it nowhere else. And shout out to good brother E-Rock and you. Y'all told me go there.
Yeah, the dude, I told you, we had brother guy. I don't know if you noticed or not, but we had two. It was one dude named Max something, and there's another dude. And these guys were like New Japan shills in the old Wrestle Room Facebook group. And this is right before I was about to go into my coma. You remember that, don't you, brother guy? 2015. I was like, screw this. I'm not watching WWE. It was that. What was it? What was the defining blow? Was it when Roman Reigns won a Rumble? I think
that wasn't for me. I was like, oh, I'm done. Nope, can't do
So-
it.
Yeah, we
That's
don't
what it was?
speak of that guy. Yeah, yeah.
Because we
Okay.
were both for the same. You just because I think we rebooked everything. I feel like we were on the phone rebooking everything.
Yeah, it was
Is
the
that what
Wrestling
that
Realm
was?
Now podcast before it was the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. Yeah, it had to be because Brian H thought it was hilarious, by the way, because I got pissed.
No,
He thought it was funny, and I got so mad, and there was nothing I could do about it because I don't think we were doing shows. We were still in transition at the time, and it was just a conversation. But I remember, like I said, it was these two guys in the realm, the group page, and they just kept every time saying, "Oh, this is dumb. This isn't as good as something New Japan." And they kept talking about they love Forever Hooligans. They love Rocky Romero and Alexander Kozlov or Alex Kozlov. And that's all they kept talking about. And I'm like, okay, fine. If since New Japan is so great, like, and we had a lot of trolls, in the group, the Facebook group, you know what I mean? And we did our best to regulate as much as possible. But I was like, okay, let me not be like, because I used to go to war with people. I was like, okay, yeah, you think you know something, but I was like, okay,
they all realness back.
See, I'm much more settled now. I'm not as fired up. I said, what should I watch? He's like, just watch the latest Wrestle Kingdom 8. And I said, okay, fine. So I go on YouTube and it was just clips. And I was just watching and I was like, holy cow, what do we have going on here? And I was blown away by what I saw. And then I finally found the entire show on Daily Motion. I think Brian H. I think we've been missing out, man. You gotta. This is literally right before Ring of Honor was about to be Sinclair broadcasting. It was right on that, like it was right there. And it was right before they was about to start shooting actual, because they shot a whole bunch of shows in advance. I think it was right before they were about to start shooting in Baltimore.
Wait, no, timeline mixed
Was
up.
it?
When the Daily Motion New Japan stuff was, I was in Connecticut.
No, I'm saying that's when you went back and watched it. But I'm saying that's
when the discourse online.
Yeah, like
we was already in the ROH stuff.
Oh yeah, okay. So we was already
the
there.
ROH stuff. By the time when the group started popping off, we was already in the arenas.
Yeah. That's what it was. I take it back.
We was in the streets. Yeah.
This is before the partnership came here because they was only going to Canada at one point. Remember the New Japan Ring of Honor partnership? They was doing global wars.
Yeah, the partnership. Yep. Yeah. But at that time they wasn't in Duburn's no more because they was elsewhere.
Yeah,
and that's when the Intercontinental title came because they started doing that. And now, that was when the Intercontinental title was supposed to have been for the U.S. And that's when they started the shows in New York, right?
Yes.
Well, what you call had won it by then, right? MVP.
Yeah, that's why they did it because
the first version of it.
To bring it to.
The first version of it was phony looking. It was copper looking. It was like a penny. But you're actually right, brother guy, because I didn't know. I thought that championship had been there for a while, but it was the same purpose of like the United States Championship, the IWGP United. That was the whole purpose of the Intercontinental Championship, right? But like I said, man, just Tanahashi and then Tanahashi and Shinsuke, and like I said, play musical chairs with that bad boy, and turn it into something bigger and better than it could ever been. But the whole point was, I was like, let me go see what else was out, and that thing sent me into a rabbit hole, and I was like, once again, it's the same way I discovered TNA. I'm like, wait a minute, Shelton Benjamin. Wait a minute, I'm looking at Killer Elite Squad with Lance Archer and Davey Boy Smith Jr. And I'm looking like, and I see Tanahashi, and then I see Okada, then I see Shinsuke, and I'm just like in that, and I'm even going back to older clips. I'm like, what? Wasn't Brock Lesnar in New Japan around this whole TNA partnership? I went back and watched that stuff, and the same thing with Kurt Angle. I was like, wait a minute, and then I started seeing stuff with Lord Tensai. Lord Tensai had just was on his way back, and I was like, let me see what was he doing in New Japan, and he was Giant Bernardo.
A whole different person.
And I was like, oh my goodness, he's a star over here. And that's just what exploded. And I was like, bro, there's wrestling around the world that we've been missing out. We always knew about New Japan Pro Wrestling because we've been hearing it for years and seen it in the magazines, but we never had it stateside. But that was the one time I was like, okay. And then, of course, AJ Styles shows up and then not too long after that. And it was over for me. I saw the Bullet Club for the first time. That was back when I said, look, that's freaking Festus. But he was fresh off his TNA run with Aces and Eights. And I was like, oh, I didn't know who Carl Anderson was. I was trying to see, like, do I recognize him from anywhere else? I'm like, oh, no, he must be a New Japan guy. I remember seeing the Time Splitters. You saw Kushida and Alex Shelley coming out the DeLorean. And I was like, yo, this is fly. This is especially Wrestle Kingdom. The Bullet Club, this is before they had their iconic t-shirt. I thought they were just a tag team. I didn't know they were a faction. They came out in a giant tank and let off a round. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Seen Tama Tonga for the first time. He had the face paint. So, that was seeing all that stuff, right? Sent me down a rabbit hole. And like I said, and then when they started putting the events on Daily Motion, the problem is it's like Daily Motion would crash and you had to start the match all over again, which is dumb. But you have to watch it on your iPad. I think it holds out longer. Anyway, this is a fun session of what did you watch? I've gone down memory lane. Let me tell you, brothers, what I watched this week. You guys gonna like this conversation. You ready? Mm-hmm. So I'm watching TV. And I'm seeing some stuff. TNA starts on my iPad. So let me go check it out. And I noticed something. Something happened. Somebody showed up on TNA, and I was like, uh-oh, we have answers now. Cedric Alexander made his TNA wrestling debut. I said, oh, so that's why MJF joined the Hurt Syndicate.
Yep.
I was like,
and I said, I can't wait for that match.
It took me back to, remember they were all teasing Sting coming to WWE in 2008? Was it 8?
11.
11. That was, I don't know. What was it, 11?
WrestleMania 27.
Yeah, the Johnny Cash WrestleMania.
Oh, in old grave. Hold my body down.
Everybody's like,
that's just because.
I'm telling you.
It's not on the DVD, or they had to put the real one.
No. They said we're not paying for that.
Right. And they said we don't want to keep paying those royalties.
Oh yeah, to his estate, Johnny Cash. Talk about cash.
Sean would have.
Yeah, Tony. Yeah, he doesn't care. Billionaire guy. He doesn't care.
He needs that tax write-off. He needs that tax write-off.
We need that. Have DVDs now. Think about it. I'm sorry, you just sent me elsewhere.
Now that you've brought that up, I think they kind of were around before the DVD era was dang near dead.
It was dead, but you gotta commemorate something. Like, give me
a. Was still cranking them out. But
yeah, like
now that you have these plus services, I think does AEW put their backlog on HBO Max or Max, whatever they call it.
Slowly but surely. Okay,
I figured that. So Cedric Alexander pops up in TNA, and I was like, oh, I didn't see this coming, because usually if you want to stay in WWE's good graces, you go to TNA or New Japan. You don't cross Jacksonville. If you go to Jacksonville, we know where you stand. Except unless you're a star, like Big Shows. Those guys are untouchable because they can come back whenever they want.
Bro, they don't even sell them belts.
No, I
like the Jaguars. It's just
they said no
because he pulled it off. Remember Tony Khan?
He definitely did. I think they did that on purpose.
He can't have my belt. Nobody want that franchise. They just got some value. That's free Travis Hunter, but that's a different story for a different day.
There you go again. Nope. That's who just struck again? Hollywood. Yep. At it again. So I was like, oh, first of all, he looks good, looks nice and lean. I was like, okay, him and Mustafa Ali running it back a little bit, and I was like, oh, I'm
excited.
This is why NJF joined the Hurt Syndicate. I was like, because they kept saying we got another member and we taking our time and we gonna see. And I was like, I think they're just buying their time. I thought they was just trying to wait. And then, like I said, he joined, and I was like, all right, I guess maybe Cedric will come back and kick him out. They're setting him up. Nope. He is officially part of the TNA roster. He fits over there. Don't get me wrong. I think there's a lot of guys that I'm starting to think that like WWE's releasing guys to go over there to get that money, especially when you got WWE people running the show. I don't care what nobody says. Tommy Dreamer is a WWE guy.
And to stay in the good graces of
Yeah,
because Cedric is a Triple H guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
If you think about it, remember he's
the
a
first
Triple H
please sign.
Yeah.
But
What you just said. He's the first please sign Cedric and done.
Yep. And the thing is, and I don't think that, and everybody was hoping that he was going there. I don't think that Cedric was going to play ball with Tony Khan after what happened.
Thank you.
Yeah. I that's what we kept saying.
I said that on this very program.
And the only reason I
Brandon's
changed my
muted.
mind, and the only reason I changed my mind was because he did his interview with Chris Van Vliet, and he said he would love to go over there and work with those guys. And there's still some, like I said, there's still stuff left on the table for them to do. Even though the Hurt Syndicate is all about MVP instead of Bobby Lashley.
Oh, talk about it,
bro. So I got no problem with it.
Bad Bobby. Wow.
Bobby just doesn't care. Bobby's over there collecting money, and him and Shelton Benjamin's wrestling. Bobby's collecting paychecks, taking time off. Go ahead, Brian H.
I was to say the thing is, man, like Cedric is just one of those good people. Which, by the way, if you're in Charlotte, North Carolina this weekend, he will be at Ashe Wrestling. So that's something to check out. But he's just one of those people, just easy to root for.
Yes.
I got a chance to see him. I speak the Swole more at Wale Mania, but you just root for good people. And Brother Guy just said it. Like, obviously, I'm not in their marriage business, but one thing, when you see a man that loves his wife, it can kind of tell you on the surface, like, this guy said this. I'm not sure if he's gonna be over there that soon, unless there's what they say, the apology is as loud as the disrespect.
Yeah.
And so we ain't seen that. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that what he did was uncalled for. It was him trolling, responding to a fan, and that was uncalled for. Her wrestling word was, I think you need to be. And I remember somebody I used to work with said billionaires shouldn't tweet, and that was one of those moments, and so you look back at it. I'm excited to see. It just goes to show you, like, as much as AJ Francis is loud and always going back and forth with trolls, he's another one. Months later, where is he?
Yeah,
on NXT television with the TNA World.
I was gonna say with the champion in a prominent role, and he even making jokes about it, which I think is hilarious. And like he joked, he leaned all the way in about the dive. He said they called me, yup, because they knew what they were getting.
Yeah,
he stayed in the good graces. He stayed.
Yep.
So it's like, okay. I may not be the name on the check might be different, but I mean, David. Oh look, Brian H is like. So are you calling conspiracy, Brian H?
As far as what the TNA
the name? Yes,
I'm just gonna say this about it. This is
I'm still not sure.
Yeah, this is giving me Vince McMahon. This is giving me Vince McMahon owns ECW, but it's not going to come out until he's ready for it to come out. I think that TKO has brought TNA, but they want to keep it as separate as long as possible until they have to say, you know what, we're all the same company. And they just got us.
Do we see any Anthem logos on TNA Wrestling anymore? It's been a while. I'm gonna actually order TNA Plus and like instead of trying to like pirate my TV to see TNA stuff. Because I can't tell anymore. Because you might be right. Like, there might be subtleties. Like if you don't see Anthem Sports anymore anywhere. I mean,
and what else? Think about it. I hate to say it. The business model was there. They like AAA. They said they have a good product, just needed the money, right? You get the money, you're gonna get the return on your investment. They needed a place where they could say, okay, let's inject in these live shows and send people different places, and they're actually touring now. Remember, TNA wasn't touring for
muted, but yeah, they wasn't touring for a minute.
Yeah, you might went out, Brother Guy.
We heard people.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. I was shocked too. They're like, "Oh, we're going to be here now." I'm like, "Oh, what are we doing?" That's like, go ahead, just get it situated. I was like, "Wait a minute, what's TNA doing? TNA's moving in and out now."
Probably because I said this.
Yeah, probably.
That's why I'm having I was having difficult because I said his name.
No, but go ahead. You said TNA's touring now.
Yeah, they weren't touring before. Now they're traveling. I shouldn't say
that's
touring.
What I said.
Traveling. They're traveling a lot.
And I
they're
think
packing out places.
But see, you know what though? It's the Triple H. Here's what click people do, and I mean click people. I'm referring to Triple H Kevin Nash, Shawn Waltman, Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, rest in peace, Shawn Michaels. They take people's ideas, they look at it and say, look, how do we make this 10 times better, right? When you look at Monday, and I hate to be long with it, but I gotta be me. Look at Monday Night Raw, right? How they said, okay, Vince McMahon said, we're going to take this raw, rugged setting and surround it around the fans, like put the fans right on top of the product, right? And we're going to make it special. And then Raw naturally evolved, right? And it's like, I felt like the Click looked at it and said, man, this is the right idea, but they're doing it the wrong way, right? And then we get NXT. Triple H looks at something like TNA and WCW when they were shooting their and even in the NWA when they were doing their very small studio setups, right? And it's like, look, what's a way we can take this small setting, make it look larger than life, and then we can run these buildings without making it look like it's Bush League or Second League. You know what I mean? And it's like,
make it feel like a big deal.
Yeah, so it's like, so you got companies now like TNA that looks like a big deal. You got companies like AAA that's, you know what I mean? Like, we know how to make it look. You got Los Gardas, they just won their tag titles at Triple Mania. Like I said, and it's the same. We're talking about history and lineage. Their fathers won those same their cousins, and their fathers won those same tag titles. So it's like now, first of all, you had this young tag team that you didn't know what to do with, but they were too good. You re-signed them, and now we know why. Because now you're sending them off to work in other spaces and other territories where their star power helps their product. And also, since you own the company, it's like, okay, cool. We have return on our investment because we have so much talent here that fits. That we need a place for Lucha. We have always had the conversation. This show's going to go longer than expected. Thankfully, Night of Champions is only 4 matches long. We've had this conversation before. We talked about cruiserweights all the time, and we always talk about, because you're talking to 3 guys that love cruiserweights, and every time they get going, it's never sustainable because eventually one person becomes a superstar. You move them out of that division, and now you got to rebuild it, and it's never the same juice. If you buy your own Lucha Libre company, now you have an excuse to put that style of wrestling on your programming when that's not typically the WWE style, right? So now you got promos of AAA people saying, hey, we're going to take some of our top Lucha Libre stars and send them to NXT with that same audience that will watch AAA, right? And now you're cross-exposing your audience that you already have with talent that you may not be familiar with. And guess what that's going to do naturally? It's going to bring more eyes to the product of AAA. Not to mention, you got guys like now, nobody knew who the heck Mr. Iguani was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's a household name, and they talking about, oh, nah, he's there. He's at a performance center. He might go straight to the main roster. What?
And not only that, remember, they called him to come to the show. He wasn't even scheduled to be there, and they said, no, you got to get to this pay-per-view tonight.
They are going to be selling iguanas, hand puppets on WWE Shop before you know it. So I say that to say is that they have this, Triple H really has this way of looking at an idea and just looking at TNA, how they did their show. They follow the same blueprint as WCW, and they just find a way to make it larger than life. So I wouldn't be surprised, long story short, not really, that if WWE was kind of running the show at TNA, even though, you know, it's, I don't know for sure. Nothing has been announced. I knew something was up when Dolph Ziggler left and went to TNA. I knew something was up because he was the first one to really jump like that. I knew something was up when they fired Scott D'Amore because he wanted full control of the company, and they were like, no. And I was like, well, why wouldn't you? This guy did all these things, all these great things. He started the partnership with Triple H, you know, we had Jordan Grace, but he said he wanted to buy the company. He wanted them to invest more into it. They said no. He said, cool, let me and my ownership group buy the company, because nobody knew that Scott D'Amore was filthy rich. He's a real estate tycoon like Conrad. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. No wonder you wanted to buy the company. They let him go, but all of a sudden I was like, just nothing about this makes sense. Only to find out that this partnership with WWE was going to sustain them financially, and now they don't have to worry about competing. It's because now we're all working together. God damn.
But I think he's in a perfect position now, Scott D'Amore, because what he's doing in Canada,
bro,
don't worry, he'll get absorbed soon too. It's gonna be.
What do you call that? Everybody keeps saying like, bro, this is not an indie. Like, there's no way in the world. We're Maple Leaf Gardens. It's big. Like everything he took in TNA, he applies it to freaking MLPW. And I'm just like, oh yes. Like and I'm gonna tell you what they do though. They do the same thing they do in TNA. They run a pay-per-view. They do what they do for live audience. Literally 2 weeks later, they break the pay-per-view down from matches, and they put some of them on their YouTube channel. That's how I never miss what's going on.
Yep. And then they got their champions plastered over all their social media, and all of the moments with the champions. They got their promo. All you gotta do is go on their social media and you see everything.
Bingo.
And
Any other? Go ahead.
and it's so interesting because in a short amount of time, you're like, oh, he revived this. He revived the promotion that
Yep.
had history. And then guess what? Not only did he revive it, he said, this is who we are.
Facts. It looks like TNA. I was like, okay. He said literally, and he alluded to it at the Chris Van Vliet show. He was talking about it, and I was like, oh, Scott D'Amore's up or something. And I knew he was gonna pull it off when I found out how much money he had. He's like, oh yeah, people don't realize, like, I'm not really pressed for money. Like, I've been in this real estate game for a long time. I was like, oh, that's why you're not pressed. So this
But
is
what did we
project.
always say?
Mhm.
In order for us to have good wrestling, and I should say a good like global, like, you know, you needed somebody who was passionate, willing to lose money. You know, and
Facts.
maybe he could have went there, but you know, and that's what I know. I'm like critical of AEW and Tony Khan, but Tony Khan is everything. Like, I remember we used to have the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, say 2017, 18, every morning, 8 o'clock. On the way to work, and that was the thing we always said. Like, you need somebody who's willing to go in there and lose money just in order to eventually make money.
Yep. And that's what we kind of got that almost 2 times over, especially now. You know what I mean? Like I said, Tony Khan was one. He has no problem throwing money at stuff. God bless Tony Khan. The same thing with Scott D'Amore. So, man, I don't know. We still have not yet to crack this
Take a couple
TNA
of those
wrestling.
belts off of Mercedes, and we good.
No, they're going to keep.
She's on Ultimate Dragon status at this point.
And Ultimate Dragon, and like, do we remember any of those titles? Was any of them a world championship?
Well,
They were all part of that tournament. That's why everybody think that he won each one individually. That was all part of, what was that, the New Japan, this best, what was the cup it was part of? Because remember, that was like what
When
he
they
tried
do
to
a
do with,
Starcade?
I forgot what it was called, but you know how he tried to do with the Continental Championship, where it was the Continental Championship, the New Japan Strong, and the ROH.
Yeah, remember it was like a
deal.
triple crown champion with Eddie King. Remember Eddie Kingston did that? And they were like, if you win this championship, you win all 3.
Yeah, that's what that picture the Ultimate Dragon is doing. I forgot, and I wish Ben was here. He know exactly what it was called. It was not a tournament, but if you won that, you won all of those belts. It wasn't like I won every single one. It was, okay, when I win all 8 of these belts. Here you go. I forgot what it was called.
No, yeah. So I think you're absolutely right. It was definitely one of those situations where, like I said, you know, it's like, okay, cool. All these belts are for grabs at the same time. So it's like if Brian Ace grabs all his belts off his wall, and then you grabbed all the belts off your wall, you guys could all like cosplay as Sasha Banks and Ultimate Dragon. I only have 3, so I'm not there yet. But yeah, so like, we haven't cracked on that. I like her now. I love her.
Jake, I think it's the Jake.
She was always one of the,
I think it's the J Crown. I think it was called the J Crown.
Oh yeah. Yes. I do remember hearing that name.
Yeah, because it has the IWGP Junior Heavyweight, MPW British Commonweight, the NWA World Junior Heavyweight, NWA Weatherweight, UVW Junior Weight, War International Junior, WWA World Junior Weight, and WWF Light Heavyweight Championship was part of that at one time. It was part of the J Crown Championship.
Okay.
You would win all of those belts.
But you know, the fun part about being a kid at the time was if you wasn't watching, or you like when you first saw him, or when you heard somebody talk about him, he must be nice because you see he come out there, he got all the belts.
Well, we knew he was because we knew Ultimate Dragon. We like, he must be like. We remember. I remember being smart marks. Oh yeah, well yeah, clearly because if you see that, you're like, he must be a big. I know we should have known what type of fans we were going to be because we were all smart. Like, oh yeah, he probably got that around the world or something like that. Yeah. Like, bro, we in 4th grade. What do we know about anything going on around the world?
Man,
yeah,
see, now this takes me back to
in Mexico,
WCW
Japan.
versus the world.
Yep, there you go. Yep, that was the archetype. Because Eric Bischoff always talked about it. He always kept talking about it. Because think about it. Remember, we used to randomly. This is all great stuff, by the way. This is my type of conversation. Eric Bischoff randomly would have Great Muta show up one week, or have 3 or 4 of the guys like Tenson still wrestles, and he was in the NWO. If you go watch the old stuff, 3 or 4, and they acknowledge those guys. Or Scott Norton would show up randomly with the IWGP Championship around his waist, and I was like, "What is that belt?" And they would tell you what it was, and it was always
especially
just random.
Mike Tenay.
Yes, definitely. He was like the Jeremy Borash / Corey Graves type guy. Like he knew all the history. You know what I mean?
And he had all the stats for you. And he was like, you're like, oh, that checks out. Oh, that's what
He's the professor, Mike Tenay. So, so that was our early education with, global professional wrestling. We should have known at those points at that age, we didn't stand a chance. Because there's no way in the world we was in elementary school, and all of a sudden, to that degree, we were that like, oh nah, yeah, clearly there's other promotions and stuff in Japan and in Mexico. We all, let alone anywhere else, we always knew about Japan and Mexico. But yeah.
Well, speaking of WCW, I'm gonna do a quick plug about my guy Mark Ramondi from ESPN. New book just dropped today.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
Say hello to the bad guys. It's a book on the NWO. Download it on Spotify if you got Spotify Premium.
I have been seeing it other places, and the crazy part is I just didn't pay it any mind. I was not even looking at it. I saw literally that image. So what is that? What is that book supposed to be about?
The history of the NWO.
Okay. Now,
yeah, he came on the Masked Man about 6 months ago and talked about it. And but yeah, he had many interviews to talk. And I even believe he got with the lady who did the logo. You know how Bischoff said it was just.
Bro, that's what I just saw. Somebody just posted something saying that the logo took like a few minutes to make. So that's probably what I was looking at then.
From like Disney, or it was like, hey, can you come up with something? And iconic.
That's as iconic as the girl who designed the lady who designed the Nike logo.
Oh, really?
For $40. Yes, they got a random graphic artist out in Portland and asked her. I think they gave her like $40 to design a Nike logo, and the rest is history.
Wow.
So yeah, exactly. I forgot her name, but just trust me, her name is it's
crazy.
It is out there. Insane, right?
This lady, I believe she probably was just an employee. Yep. So it's probably just her, day-to-day job. You think about like, working in corporate and, doing media stuff, and how you just never know. You could just do something and then boom, it's like epic, game changer.
And of course, and somehow, some way, your boys, Kevin Nash and
Hollywood.
Hogan split the rights on the logo.
Hey, remember the first shirt didn't have the words.
Yes. Yep. It just had NWO on it. Yep. I remember that. So there you go. It's a little bit of wrestling history. But like I said, man, let's get to the main event of the show. Like that What Did You Watch segment went quite often, but it's okay though, because it is time for us to ask our good friends, our co-hosts, Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa, to help us bring on the main event of tonight's show, which is we're going to talk about Night of Champions and who will be this year's 2025 King of the Ring. So, gentlemen, help us ceremoniously get this main event underway. Gentlemen,
want to ring the bell?
Ding, ding.
All right, so the bell is run. Thank you, Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa. Let's talk about Night of Champions. We have 4 matches that are slated for this Saturday, June 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Out of the Kingdom of Rhea. Am I saying it right? I'm not saying it with a like giving it a ass. Is it Rhea?
Let's just not say you did.
Okay, sure. Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Rhea. Night of Champions this show. we got 4 matches. It's supposed to be 5. We're supposed to get AJ versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, which would have been epic. But apparently, allegedly, I should say, Dominic Mysterio has sustained an injury, so we will not be getting that match. And Adam Pearce, WWE official, has made it clear that AJ Styles is first in line when he is officially cleared to return to the ring. But we do have Jade Cargill versus Asuka, a returning Asuka, to determine who will be this year's Queen of the Ring. Not to mention, we have finally another. The bloodline still stands strong. Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. These are the babies of the family. Jacob's been through some things, so he's probably, he looks a little older, but these are the babies of the family. They're around the same age. The Usos are 8 years older than both 33. Yeah, the Usos are 8 years older than them. You know what I mean? So these are the babies. So we get Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa, and I'm gonna go into Solo Sikoa a little bit early because Brian H and Brother Guy were talking about his style before versus his style now. He is doing way more entertaining things as far as psychology in ring rather than like with his face scrunched up trying to do a bunch of moves. And of course, this right here, CM Punk versus John Cena, a rivalry renewed for the WWE Championship. It doesn't get any bigger than this when it comes to these guys. CM Punk, John Cena. John Cena recently recreated CM Punk's pipe bomb segment. I want to hear what you guys think about that once we get to this match. That was kind of fun. I like what he did there. And of course, the mentor versus the mentee. What are we going to get here? Cody Raheem Rhodes. Thank you for wearing the weight belts back to the ring again, because I was pissed he stopped wearing them for a while. Versus the Legend Killer, the Viper, the Apex Predator, Randy Keith Orton, to determine this year's 2025 King of the Ring, and also determines a title shot at is it SummerSlam?
Yep,
at SummerSlam. Okay, so good brothers. Let's start with the ladies. Ladies first, of course. We're here. We talked about Jade Cargill earlier. We talked about her development, how they have taken her time with her, how they have protected her image, how they have gotten her to a place of being a superstar against one of the greatest to ever lace up a pair of boots, Asuka. Are you guys excited for this matchup between Jade Cargill and Asuka? I'll say this. Let me just go first. To me, it shows me that they've gotten her to a level of trust, because they're putting her in big time matches. Once we saw her having more singles matches and not just the tag matches, I was like, oh, okay, I think she's ready now. But this is a big deal. This is Rhea, the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean? And her being in the ring with Asuka is okay. It's going to show you where she is. But of course, her being in a match with a ring general like Asuka is going to prove that she can hang with the big dogs. But are you guys looking forward to this particular matchup when it comes to Jade and Asuka? And of course, who do you believe will walk away as this year's Queen of the Ring? Will it be a returning Asuka that is ready to reclaim her throne, or are we going to crown a new face, a superstar of the future, and Jade Cargill?
Ooh, this is tough, man. This is
tough.
Because part of me, I picked Jade to win.
Okay.
I said, okay, this is Jade's tournament. This is Jade's coming out party. But I had penciled in Jade versus Charlotte Flair. That was the match, the big deal, big matchup. But then I thought about this.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean this with all due respect.
Uh-oh, here comes Hollywood. Here comes the Hollywood take.
Hollywood!
You don't want that match with those two action figures.
Tell us why. Brother, he's not going to like this.
You don't want that match with those two action figures covered up.
Oh, yeah.
You want all the aesthetics, because part of the appeal will be everything.
The gun show.
The gun. Thank you. And like I said, I'm not being perverted, but, they work hard on their image.
They have wonderful physiques. Charlotte Flair was in the body issue of ESPN magazine for a reason.
Mm-hmm. And if it was around then, so would Jade.
Oh, my gosh.
Owner of softball champions Texas Smoke, by the way. If I want to pick Jade, but last night, after actually sitting here listening, I thought about Asuka's confrontation with Io Sky. That story, man.
Uh-oh.
That is storytelling, because Asuka told her straight up. I mean, Asuka told her, Damage Control is no more. I'm coming for that title.
Uh-oh.
So, what's a bigger matchup? Asuka going against Io Sky to finally regain a world championship
at SummerSlam, at all places.
At SummerSlam, that particular title she hasn't had. Or Jade, and let's just say it's probably Tiffany Stratton, where we just going to be constantly waiting for that cash in.
Oh. Interesting take. You sound conflicted. You have yet to give us an answer of who you believe is going to walk away.
I've been picking Jade.
Are you going to stick with
Jade? And I'm
going
to stick loyal. I'm going to stay loyal.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to go with Jade.
That's uncharacteristic for you as a heel. But all right.
Wow.
All right. You're sticking with Jade. How about you, brother guy? Do you feel the same way as Brian H? Are you conflicted, or do you feel like you have a clear-cut winner of this year's 2025 Queen of the Ring tournament?
So I was with my favorite Asuka until she made that comment to Io, because it clicked in my head. I said,
That's your girl.
I said, oh, that's the main event of Evolution. That's a bigger match to say, I'm sorry, we called you up to the main roster. We didn't give you the treatment that you need. But guess what? What's bigger for Asuka and Io to main event Evolution? Because let's call it what it is. Them two alone, that story could propel to the, oh my gosh, I need to watch this. Almost to the point when the first Evolution, I was more excited about Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler, the rematch, because the story was so impactful than I was it Ronda and Charlotte? No, it was
Ronda and the Nikki Bella.
Yeah, I was more invested in the NXT Women's title than I was that, because the story propelled. And imagine them two now and their character work they've done. And I was like, that's why we haven't seen Io. Because they said, listen, you better stay healthy because Asuka's coming back and that's your match. That's going to be the main event, I believe, of Evolution. Because right now, we could main event Evolution if you look at the 3 women's champions. If you look at the 3 mid-card titles. Even if you bring in TNA into it, you're not going to put the TNA World Champion in the main event. So Io and Asuka are the 2 that can carry. Just imagine the marquee with them 2.
Right.
That match doesn't need the Queen in the Ring. That match needs Evolution, because it's got to be something that you're going to draw in multiple people, because let's call it what it is. The crowds are behind Io.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the wrestling fans are just behind Asuka. So can you imagine the buy rate that would be for people to say, okay, I want to see this match? But I agree with Hollywood, because the only reason I kind of don't want Jade to win, because I'm going to be expecting to cash in. It's a story foretold, but they might just swerve us, because every time you turn around, we get swerved. Like Naomi was coming to the ring and Jade returned and took her out of the Elimination Chamber. Who's to say that the match isn't set for Tiffany Stratton versus Jade and Naomi take the belt from her, and now it becomes them 2 at WrestleMania? SummerSlam. That's a bigger swerve. And oh my God, look what just happened. Naomi is the champion at SummerSlam that night, and she's about to fight Naomi for the title, because technically Jade would get a title shot at SummerSlam. And then guess what? Naomi cashes in that night and she's now the champion. And that's how you get that match. Yeah, you don't need any build-up, because we've been telling this story. We've been proceeding with caution since she said it, right? I think that would be a bigger swerve. And for them to be, it's 2 nights of...
You might try again, brother guy. See, that's how the devil works. He doesn't want you to be great, brother guy, because your mic went out. He's still going. He's literally, your mic went out, brother guy. Yeah, it's okay. So
I don't know why they keep going out.
There you go. No, you good. Keep going.
Something different. I don't know why that keeps going out. So hopefully you heard that. I'm looking forward to
the devil don't want you to be great.
Yeah. I'm looking at night 1, the bell ring. I mean, not the bell ring, Tiffany in the ring. Naomi takes the title. Jade still got the title shot at SummerSlam. You talking about a headliner? You talking about a shock?
The only question I have is, yes, you've successfully done your job, brother guy, because Brian H is like, because here's, before you go, Brian H, here's the thing that I noticed. Triple H gives you 2 scenarios, like both could actually work, and you have to sit there and be like, dang it, this could work and this could work, and now you don't know what direction that we're going in. Seeing it's, but go ahead, Brian H.
Then he does option 3, and you're like, oh, I didn't even know that. So that's why I want, as much as I want to give Asuka the crown, I don't think she needs it to be in a title picture.
I mean, you brought up something, and I think it's actually the other way around. I think the better main event for Evolution is actually, when you think about what could main event Evolution, I think is what you just said, the story you've been telling. Naomi versus Jade. Now, how do you get there? You got to move some things around. I just think with Asuka and Io, obviously the wrestling, but this main event, it's unfair. Story. Well, the time slot, it's unfair. It's going the same weekend as All In, and it was a last minute throwaway. Let's call it for what it is. They threw this at the last minute.
All right.
Rhea doesn't have the main event dance partner right now, because she's telling she's telling a story with Raquel, but let's be real. And I'll just leave it at that. Tiffany doesn't have a strong enough dance partner.
No, she
Bingo. She doesn't.
It's like you could. It could have been Naomi, but Naomi's holding a briefcase, so that just doesn't make any sense. Nia, they're giving it to us already, as opposed to it's where we're really feeling the effects of a Bianca and a Liv Morgan being out.
Yes,
it
that's
honestly could have been bigger with Liv and Nikki Bella.
I think that was. See,
we can never underestimate the internet hates Nikki Bella, but the outside world doesn't.
Mainstream, yeah.
Mainstream, and she knows how to tell a story, and that's the reason why the women back there love her. And so we're in that awkward. We're in the super. We don't have a super megastar right now available, ready to just pop in women's wrestling. Now,
call Trish.
You could call Trish. I mean, Trish and Tiffany Stratton book it. Now you got.
That's what I told you. That's what I told you. I said, unless they call Trish and say, here's the main event.
But see, this is what happens when you announce this late, right? This is 25 years of Trish Stratus. So this whole year has been celebrating her career. So she's doing her thing, and then she kind of pops into WWE when she does. And like I said, Bianca being hurt, Bianca, Naomi, just a straight up nasty grudge match could have been the main event. So I think if you go with Brother Guy's main event, which I wouldn't be upset, but I'm a wrestling fan. I want to see that story being told. Oh, I'm tripping. Yeah. They gave it away Monday. That would have been a great main event. Bayley and Becky.
Oh yeah.
For the Intercontinental title.
Yeah,
you could have did it for the Intercontinental title. I think you could still do it with Lyra. That's if you want to really put over that championship. Well, Lyra, just because Lyra's in there now, like she done got in the mix.
She's inserted herself.
Yeah, I didn't think she needed to be. It's like go challenge, get on your world title path.
Yeah,
go
first of all,
there.
Don't get in the way. Don't get in the way of a match between any of the four horsewomen. Their chemistry is like, this is a main event. Move out the way.
Right. And they do so good at, like, we don't know their relationship, right? True. When you think of the four horsewomen, but it's like the four group of friends, but then two. So it's like we always think of Becky, Sasha, and then Becky, Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley, and then we think of Sasha and Charlotte together as wrestling partners, as Ricky and Rick Steamboat.
Yep.
So, but we never really got the Bayley Becky combo, and we was getting ready to feast on this. It's like, oh, this is about to be good.
That's the one missing link, because we've gotten the Charlotte and Bayley, and we got both iterations of Bayley with that. We've gotten Becky Lynch and Sasha, different iterations, but it's like, give us the Bayley and Becky that we've been asking for, or now that you inserted her, I'm like, oh, but I want her, not to say because I became a Lyra fan now, but I want her to go over there and do something else. Go over there.
Exactly.
I want her to do something else.
World champion capable.
Yeah, I want to see her and Stephanie mix it up for the number one contender. I want to see her and Roxanne recreate that magic of NXT. I want to go over there and do something. Show us that you got the grit. Now go to the next level.
Yep.
That's a great way of putting it. But Brother Guy, so
Holiday. Sorry, our second baseman. He just threw out the guy and prevented him from scoring a go ahead and run.
We have 34 wins on the season. I'm not impressed.
Dang, wow.
Fair weather bandwagon. Yes, me. So what is it, Brother Guy? Is it Jade or is it Asuka? You've been.
I'm gonna say Jade. It's Jade because that's the SummerSlam match. Asuka, and as much as I love Asuka, she's okay without the crown because Asuka is big enough that she can be inserted in a world like the. I don't want to say, I would say, like, why would you give somebody the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber win and they could just be inserted into the title match anyway? If she didn't win the briefcase, like, I'm okay with her getting this. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yes, Jade needs this to get to SummerSlam.
Okay. I'm under the impression that Asuka is winning it is because they need Asuka's name to sell. So it's like, all right, cool. She's been out for a year and a half. Let's get her going again. And we don't know when they're headed back to Japan. I'm just being stereotypical. I don't know. Like, anytime you have the influence of Japanese superstars, it's like, all right, cool. You gotta keep your headliners. By the way, what the heck is going on with Shinsuke Nakamura? But I'm not going to start fights today. So yeah, well, this is going to be a good match either way. But we gotta move. We gotta move on. Okay, here's the thing. We're going to talk about Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. Now, my question to you guys is, this is what I proposed, because I was thinking about this, and I said, I wonder what the brothers think, but I waited purposely into the show to have this conversation. Who needs this match more? Now, hear me out. Jacob Fatu is the new guy. He's the new face. Solo's been around. He's had a run with the Bloodline, the first version of it, and, so on and so forth. And it's like Jacob's here. But at the same time, we all kept saying, listen, if Jacob got there first, Solo may not know what his position is. And, in this whole Bloodline situation, because Jacob could have easily replaced, or he would have been much more believable as an enforcer before Solo got there. But now that we've kind of got this more evolved, the new version of Solo Sikoa, he's not just the heater now. He has such a big and bright personality. Who needs this match more? Does Jacob need to put his cousin over? Does Solo need Jacob? Or does Jacob need to establish dominance or his complete separation from Solo Sikoa's version of the Bloodline? Now, we all know the backstory, right? Family feud, trial by fire, you know what I mean? And we also know that Solo Sikoa feels like there was a debt that is owed to him because he's the one who brought in Jacob. And Jacob emphatically came into the world of WWE saying, I love you, Solo. And now that's not there anymore because Jacob's like, all right, check this out. I'm here. You know what I'm finna do? You know what I mean? That's what it is. You feel me? So it's no more I love you, Solo. But I'm like, wait a minute. Who needs this match more? Does Solo need to win over Jacob, or does Jacob need to kind of put his stamp of approval on Jacob Fatu is here and he is standing on his own 2 feet?
So I think that Solo needs to win more, but Solo's going to get it via Hikuleo. Because
you think he's going to debut early?
Well, he's been on the house show circuit. So he don't need to do much, but just debut to help Solo get that win and help Solo, quote unquote, get back. And I hate to say this, Solo was better when he was silent on the main roster. Solo's better with just the one-liner and call it a day.
No, not anymore. Are you kidding me? Solo's got 6-7 lines. He's cracking jokes. He's dancing.
Yeah, like exactly. That's why I can't take him seriously. So
I don't think he's meant to be taken seriously. Isn't that his character?
Yeah, it's become that character now. But I'm gonna keep holding on to NXT Solo.
He was there for 2 weeks. He was there. He was the street champ for 2 weeks.
He was there for. Remember, he got injured and came back. He was still there. But I just think that Solo needs this win more. Because Jacob's that wrestler that in defeat comes out better on the other side. You
think so?
Mm-hmm.
I think Jacob Fatu comes out violent on the other side if he loses in defeat.
And that's why I say he gets better. He comes out better on the other side. So,
I'm going to reserve my 2 cents. Okay. What about you, Brian H? How you feeling? I have a theory on that, brother guy. Just hold that thought for real quick. Brian H, what are you thinking about this? Who needs this win more? Is it important for Solo to become a United States champion from the new face? Or is it important for Jacob Fatu to continue his dominance because he's on his trajectory to being a main event player, but he got there after Solo. So who needs this win more?
I think Solo needs it more.
Oh boy.
I think he needs to hit for us, for the masses, to take it more serious. And I still love the promos. I love all the talking, but Brother Hugh, what we said, eventually you got to win something, right?
True.
His last big win, John Cena, Solo win, that is, no pun intended. Yeah, he pinned the tribal chief in a family feud that they had, but I think he needs to put down Jacob. Jacob's not going to be hurt with a loss.
Sure.
Jacob he could lose to a jobber. He'll be fine.
It's like Cable.
Yeah, but I think Solo could really benefit. And it would keep the story going, because like you said, he's the one who brought him in. I bring you in, but you have a WrestleMania match before I do. You get a WrestleMania win before I do. Nah, bro. So I think this would be important, and I wouldn't be surprised.
There's the conflicted
Brother
side.
guys saying Hikuleo, and I don't doubt it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy turned.
No,
That's you just never know.
I don't
his
think
brother.
Jimmy will turn. I don't think Jimmy will turn.
It's really me grabbing something, but I think if anybody who can make it work, I think it could be him.
I mean they're teasing the Usos reunion. I mean, you know, that's still to be determined. But
Yeah.
The New Day talking a lot of trash lately.
they
Yeah,
have
There's
also-
nobody that can. Mhm.
Yeah, that's true.
see, we
Yeah.
got to sell
And he helped
SummerSlam.
save- And he helped save Jacob. Remember, Jimmy came to save Jacob.
He did.
Yep,
That's why I
yep.
think I wouldn't be surprised though. You know, because
So,
I mean,
so what's the point of having Hikuleo if you're going to have Big Brother Jimmy?
because Hikuleo could join Jacob.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Oh, okay, to help him.
His
Yeah.
gear,
They
his
counted
gear
the
was-
numbers.
his gear was very similar to the Gorillas of Destiny on his house show. Now, it doesn't mean anything. It was a house show. It was, a
Mhm.
dark match. Excuse me.
It was, yeah.
It doesn't mean anything, but it looks as if he's supposed to be joining. Now, I don't know where the Tongans stand. I don't know where the Gorillas of Destiny where their loyalty lies at this point. They're both injured. They're probably going to be released soon because I don't trust WWE and New Japan guys. So yeah, I don't know what's that going to look like when they return because WWE's tag division is trash outside of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano.
You don't like Brazier Fists?
Motor City Machine Guns are cool, but they probably should have went to AEW. So you guys got me started. Anyway, to Brother Guy's point, Brother Guy had mentioned Solo Sikoa and his character. I'm gonna tell you what makes me nervous about the old-fashioned street champ of Solo Sikoa, because it's almost like Jacob Fatu can do that job better than him. And it's like, okay, cool. So if Solo beats him, you know, he can brag about how he beat his brother. He beat Jacob, right? But if Jacob loses, he's got Umaga vibes. Like, he's legit gives me Umaga vibes. If he loses it, I think we're all in trouble. It's going to be death and destruction anywhere around that ring if he's got anything to do with it. And I don't know how Solo can recover from that, because we all know that Jacob Fatu is going to come out smelling like roses. So it's like, okay, so what's the priority? Does Solo need to win for the sake of winning, or is it a situation where it's like, okay, cool, maybe Jacob has to lose and get people behind him even more, or maybe just keep making Solo that much of a heel? So yes, that was just my 2 cents on that though. But either way, you can't go wrong, because like I said, you know, they're gonna have a bloodline storyline brewing somewhere. We don't know where this is gonna go. Jeff Cobb is a big loaf of bread. Just very, very vanilla. Still trying to find his way, trying to find his, you know, there's a lot of enforcers in WWE right now, right? You look at Bronson Reed, you look at both Solo and Jacob, they both played that role. And Jeff Cobb is just like, this is why you took so long to get here, because your personality is a bag of rocks. So we got to figure out who Jade, what's his name? JT Mateo. We got to figure out who he is, right?
Oh, JC.
My fault, Jake. What did I say? What I call him? Oh,
JT Mateo. You
No,
call him a
I'm
bag
bad.
of rocks.
he's just like a big stone. And it's like, okay, cool. We don't know who he is yet. You know what I mean? Same thing. I felt that way about Hikuleo. And I'm like, see, this is why they sent you to developmental. When I saw his match, he came out there. I was like, uh-oh, them knees look a little buckly. Who knows? But as the bloodline turns, we'll get back to that sooner rather than later. But let's move on.
A bag of rocks.
Bag of rocks. John Cena. This is going to be fun. I don't care what anybody says. John Cena versus CM Punk. I hope CM Punk has some really good gear and don't try to experiment coming out with like orange and purple and nothing crazy. CM Punk versus John Cena. Like I said, a rivalry renewed. This is probably going to be, in my opinion, the most entertaining match of the night. And I say that because John Cena knows his limitations. CM Punk knows his body. We got two vets. They're going to use their brains more than their bodies in this match. And they're probably going to get the strongest reaction outside of maybe a Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton for the same reasons. This is I think this match is probably going to be like a pro wrestling psychology masterclass. But there's no way in the world that I expect CM Punk to walk out of this place as WWE champion, especially during this John Cena See You Later tour. I'm almost convinced Ron Killings is going to have something to do with this. I'm almost convinced maybe even Seth Rollins is probably going to have something to do with this. In some way, he is Mr. Money in the Bank. He is probably going to make his presence known somewhere down the line. So I'm not really convinced. I'm almost certain that this match ends in some type of no contest, or clearly John Cena is going to walk away as the winner. I'm not going to say he's going to win the match, but he's going to walk away as the winner at the end of the day. But how you guys feeling about this? This just seems like this is supposed to be like a WrestleMania main event, but at this stage in these guys' careers, I don't know. This might be as big as it gets for them. How you guys feeling about John Cena versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship? A rivalry renewed, something that kind of laid its foundation in the history of pro wrestling halls, with this rivalry, to before we got to this point, So with the roles reversed, that's the story they're telling us. The roles have reversed between John Cena and CM Punk. How you guys feeling about this? And who walks away? I guess on the bright side, I can't really. I feel like we all know who's going to win, but then again, maybe we don't. What are you guys thinking?
So I got one question for you before we answer that.
Yes, sir.
What is the match at SummerSlam? Is it Randy versus Punk, or is it Cody versus Punk, or is it Cena versus Randy, Part 76, or is it Cena versus Cody?
I feel conflicted because I feel like we already got Randy versus John, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we got that already. He's running his hits back. It was John versus Ron Truth Killings. We got Randy versus John. Now we're getting John Cena versus CM Punk. I think at this point it has to almost go to like, it's got to be John Cena, Cody Rhodes 2. It's because SummerSlam is big enough for The Rock to make a surprise or Travis Scott to make a surprise. They only show up on the big stuff. And if you're trying to sell a pay-per-view, right? If you're trying to sell a PLE, if there was ever one you want to sell, it's SummerSlam is supposed to be WrestleMania of the summers, which we kind of always tagged it. So it seems like to me, even if that doesn't happen, the idea that it could potentially happen at such a big event is something that they would purposely tease, with the audience, especially that it's a 2-night event, right? First time we're doing 2 nights for SummerSlam, the same way we're doing with WrestleMania in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So I think Cena versus Cody too. It's like these meetups, right? I don't know how long Cena's gonna kind of have his run on top. I don't see John Cena ending his career as a heel. I think on probably the back half of his career, he's going to end as a face. He's going to have a redemption story, and he's going to do something to be like, look, I created this monster, or I created these problems. I got to do my part to try to figure it out, and then I'm just going to ride off to the sunset. And then John Cena can have one more positive pop, apologize to the WWE universe, and say, I'm sorry, I lost my ways. I should have never turned to you. I realize now, the actor, you all were my lifeblood, and I can walk away now in good conscience, for all the wrong I've done. Something like if I think the end game is John Cena losing to Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes has another run. Whoever Cody Rhodes is supposed to be beefing with, which is probably going to be the cards or something stacked against him again. New story. Yep. Assuming so, something with The Rock, and then John Cena doing something to try to make it right. You know what I mean? We see it all the time. We saw it in Star Wars. We saw it with Kane and the Undertaker. You know what I mean? We saw these things where these monsters eventually they become human again. And it's like, look, I know I can't fix all the things that I've done wrong, but hopefully this is a step in the right direction. I'm sorry. I'm walking away now, but I can walk away now with a good conscience. Remember, we talked about it before. I said John Cena's going to walk away with some type of redemption story. So like, imagine him making it right with R-Truth and Cody Rhodes, and and then kind of walking away into the sun, and like a retired cowboy sheriff that just had to go for one last ride before it's time to hang it up. Something like that, to agree. So that's to me, that's why I'm like, okay, cool. I think it's got to be John Cena and Cody Rhodes. And then, like I said, the real story is I don't think it's going to be about John Cena all year. I think I think it's a distraction, to be honest with you. So hopefully that answers your question, brother guy.
But I got a question for Mr. SummerSlam over there.
That's you, Brian H.
What happened in 2007 at SummerSlam?
Man, what?
Don't act like you don't know. You the
Schwab. Forgettable period was 407. Is that Cena Orton?
Where were they at?
Jersey?
What is Triple H big on?
History.
Thank you.
Oh
That's
my
why-
gosh.
That's why I asked that question, because I said it's gotta
Randy
be a
Orton's title
reason.
reign, bro. Randy
And I
Orton's
hate to
title
say
reign.
it. And here's the thing that I'm struggling with this
Dang
match,
it,
right?
brother guy.
The King of the Ring tournament last year was a Raw and a SmackDown person to say who's gonna. Well, if you win, that's what you challenge at SummerSlam, right? We got 2 SmackDown guys, so we know it's going to happen. It's going to be the WWE Championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Triple H keeps going back to nostalgia, keep telling us about everything in the past years, right? Randy was talking about he wants to get number 15, right?
Yeah.
And he got to right the wrongs. He lost that WWE Championship match to John Cena, correct? In
Yep.
2007
Oh,
in
man.
New Jersey. Wasn't it in New Jersey?
Hold on.
Was it in New Jersey?
Boom!
Heck no.
Oh, God dang it. Sorry.
Oh, I thought
Thought we was about to have a live reaction. They got, oh, no. The women's match is on. We're getting the closing moments.
Mm-mm-mm.
But yeah, go ahead.
Where was SummerSlam in 2007? It was in New Jersey, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it. I don't think Cody comes out with this because the student ain't become the teacher.
I think you're right. I didn't even. I'm gonna tell you why. It's because, they always have a way of trying to either drop nuggets to throw us off, or they end up telling us what's going on. All of a sudden, everybody's talking about, oh yeah, Cody Rhodes is not going to stay a face forever. He's Dusty's child, and Dusty has. I told you all, every time we on the phone, we talk about Dusty Rhodes. We always talk about the school of Dusty Rhodes and how people like Paul Heyman does what he does because he learned from Dusty Rhodes. He always told everybody, once you get to the highest cloud, jump off of it into the next one. Once you get to the highest point of popularity, jump off that cloud into the next one. I'm like, man, I can definitely
and everybody
see, like,
because we're expecting Cody to get the title back. We're all expecting it. It's not that time. He's got
not as a heel though. So shoot, you're right. And another thing to your point, brother guy, and I don't know if y'all noticed this, Brian H, but if we notice, Triple H is not doing these super long title reigns anymore. Right. Like, we were like, oh dang, Cody lost. We was like, well, dang, what is he gonna do? But it's like, all right, cool. Jey Uso. Oh, okay, cool. It like both his title reigns, the IC title had his point. He went back to it. Same thing with the world title. He had his point. Yep. Okay, he dropped it. And it's like they haven't lost steam. Same thing with Gunther. Gunther lost his championship. He took a break for a while, but he never lost steam. And it's like, okay, cool, we pick back up. But I'm like, I like how he's doing this because it keeps it. It does. Once Roman did it, it's like that's a once in a generation type thing. You can't have everybody have, okay, let's keep the belt on them because they're popular. This isn't the old days. This is not, pro wrestling is not a live event business anymore, right? It's a TV business. So it's like, man, the way Triple H is booking, I can see. I didn't even think about that. This is why we have these conversations. Randy Orton's 15th.
And guess what another match at SummerSlam can be?
What's that?
CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes.
Now, how would you spin that though? Somebody's got to be the bad guy.
Or do you think?
Well, okay. According to this past Monday, they had a match between Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, and they kept selling it on the microphone, right? They kept saying like, they're warriors, they're competitors. Two brothers should be able to punch each other in the face to see who's going to be best. It was competition. You don't have to worry about somebody cheating. Let's see the best of two. Like they kept reminding you, like, bro, just because they're two good guys don't mean they can't tear the house down together. And then Cody Rhodes lost. He dropped to his knee. They showed the universal sign of respect is one cert in the ring. When somebody drops to the knee and extends their hand, that's like, I don't know, most people don't know that, but that's an old school tradition. Ring of Honor used to do it a lot. Ring of Honor, when they did their Code of Honor, you would either shake hands or you would drop to one knee and shake hands. That's like the ultimate. And I think they get that from Japan. You know what I mean? So I was like, so that's a universal sign of respect. They had their moment and it was like, okay, cool, Raw went off. I didn't feel cheated because the good guy beat the bad guy. I was like, no, they tore the house down, but yet they're still brothers. But Cody Rhodes won. So I don't know.
And I'm just saying, and I'm always thinking, the next pay-per-view, right?
Mm-hmm. What's after SummerSlam, Brian H? I know you know.
Clash in Paris, isn't it?
Yeah, that sounds because
we're going global.
Yep, the end of August. That's got that old SummerSlam slot.
And Cena's probably gonna go there. So why not have them battle for the number one contender? And that's how you tell that story because they're gonna need all your heavy hitters over there in Paris. You think CM Punk, Cody aren't going to Paris?
True. What French superstar used to be a star back in the day, but they're gonna hire him back for the cheap pop and then release him like a year and a half later. I'm trying to think. Is it Rene Dupree?
No.
Is he any good? No. Okay, I'm just wondering. Like they did my man Carlito. Oh yeah, hire you back for a cheap pop, and then a few years later, all right, we don't need you anymore. Bye.
Oh my gosh.
Do I sound bitter? It's okay. Anyways,
Speaking of
It's
French,
uh-huh.
you see who else is on the show?
Who?
I see it. I didn't see it in the thing, so I added it. I can't get it like you do.
No, it's
Right.
cool. Where's it at? Oh, they
Oh
just
yeah,
added
that
this.
was added. That did get added on Monday.
Last night, Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross finally gets a PLE. He
Bro.
thanked the crowd today. I mean, the audience on social.
Have you hit the responses every time he shows up on TV now?
Mm-hmm.
Because he got long hair now. His hair is.
That's
in
what
that
it was.
Weird, it wasn't in that weird phase of what are you doing with yourself?
It's one of those things, right? We always talk about it takes forever for his message to get across.
Yes.
It's like finally, and it's kind of like
the
his
fans
career.
finally get it.
Yeah, if they finally get it. Like I remember he posted something on Twitter where somebody was like, "Oh, he imitates somebody's hair," and he was like, "Oh, you're catching on."
Yeah.
If he just condenses his material,
Yep.
like he did it with Sami Zayn in this
Just in a
process.
bun. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
like he constantly like it didn't make us think. He didn't make us think too hard. It was like he went right at him, got in his face. Hey, you can't be a good guy and expect to be a world champion. You can't do it this way. And then finally, he made him break. But Sami punched
He
him.
popped him. He dropped him. And then
And
he
they
started laughing. I said, "Oh yeah,
He got him.
Shout out to Karrion Kross. Now,
Mhm. Also,
go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, and also just to let you know, this was also added too.
Oh, see, they added
I
matches.
forgot
I didn't even notice.
the
Thank you,
Street
Brian.
Fight.
That's why you're a super producer. Because I didn't know if these matches, because they definitely said these matches are official, but I didn't get the vibe that they were adding these to Night of Champions.
That was the thing, because I had to get my head together, because I was like, wait, Gunther and Goldberg isn't happening at Night Champions, it's happening at Saturday Night's main
Saturday
event.
main event,
So
right?
they're like kind of like co-booking, like it's now official. Jordan Grace was the winner, so she will be taking on JC Jane at Evolution, which is
Right.
an incredible match. I encourage everybody to go watch it. All the women
Mhm.
showed out, especially Lash Legend. You know, so yeah, definitely encourage everybody.
Mm-hmm. She's gonna be up next.
I wouldn't have
She's
mind
gonna
if
be-
she won, but yeah, she's definitely main eventer, waiting to happen.
Great American Bash is coming up.
Yeah,
Maybe she gets that main event spot.
maybe.
Oh, that
Well,
is-
no.
Too soon? Too soon?
Blake Monroe getting that spot.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
forgot about her that quick. Like, I forgot her that quick.
I
She's
love
just
the
waiting.
name Mariah
too.
May way better than Blake Monroe. So I have to go
You
on
do?
Mm.
Mariah May. Sheesh.
Now tell me when her music hit, you was like, "Oh, not another." It got a little better. Okay, it's not that terrible. All right, maybe I need to hear it. Like
Is that
Hollywood
Metro?
said in a live audience.
There you
I
go.
said,
Like,
right now,
let's listen in person.
yeah,
We need Metro Boomin to go back to doing the let him try to this. Why can't we just put Jim Johnson in the Hall of Fame? It's okay.
Mhm.
But yes, this is like I said, I didn't even realize that. Thank you, Brian H, for adding these up. Like I said, of course, this is a street fight with you got to make it a street fight because it's not a match meant to be full of holds.
No.
But shout out to Karrion Kross. You know, I've been a Karrion Kross guy. Now I'm nervous, gentlemen, because the bell does have to ring. The same way you said he has got to kind of get to his point when it comes to. That's how I feel about him in the ring.
Okay.
And I don't know why I didn't used to feel that way about him. Like he didn't look that way in NXT. Now to
Or
me,
TNA.
yeah, or TNA. To me, the best match I've ever seen him have was against Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship at the last official NXT takeover. You know,
man,
fresh
Samoa
off of
Joe
COVID.
looked like he was tired though.
He did, he brought it to him. So I was like, okay. So like I said, for someone that's been released, someone that's gotten back, and the fact that we kind of know who he is now. So yes, thank you, Brian H, for kind of highlighting these two matches that we have officially added tonight of Champions. Raquel Rodriguez and Rhea Ripley in a street fight, as well as Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn. I should have known they were gonna put Sami Zayn, because Sami Zayn comes out there and starts speaking his native tongue. But like I said, now this is why we're here. We're gonna wrap this up. We're going a little bit over, but it's okay. It's probably my fault. And brother
Well,
got
it's my fault because I kept interrupting with NXT updates.
no, that had nothing to do with it. It was not that many. It really was what did you watch? We started getting real deep in as far as the psychology of what TNA's got going on. And then all these other things. Some of these matches that we talked about has a lot of history that we have to educate the people on. Like, because we got to get people to change their way of thinking when it comes to this pro wrestling stuff. That's kind of what we do. And this match is no different. We're talking about the student versus the teacher, for goodness sake. It was a fun way. Now we kind of got into it already. As far as because I'm sold now. I'm let me go first. I'm just gonna put myself up before anybody knows it. I choose Randy Orton. Randy Orton's gonna go and win number 15 at SummerSlam. Mick Foley thumb. There you go. So if people didn't see what I was doing, I was giving you a Mick Foley thumbs up. So yeah, that's my pick. I'm just gonna stick with that. I am, first of all, this is just to see this like on an advertisement. I'm like, this just looks like blockbuster main event. These guys are gonna cook. And I'm talking like hot sizzling grease because once again, the student meets the teacher, but the student so travel. In case he probably hit the teacher. You know, shout out to Ricky Saints. You know what I mean? So it's just like, man, this is a big time matchup right here. And I'm like, you know what? I am convinced that Randy Orton is going to go on to win this opportunity to face John Cena at SummerSlam. Now, my question is,
you just said Ricky Saints.
What?
You triggered.
You said Ricky.
I mean, did you want me to talk about Ethan Page?
No, you just triggered a thought.
Okay. What are you thinking, Brian H? Where's this going?
And then pardon my interruption. I know that show don't exist no more.
That was a good show.
It was. But there's been this talk about Ricky Saints
Call up
and Ethan Page call up, and there's been this talk about them joining Seth Rollins.
Oh no!
What if the teacher turns the students against their teacher? What if they join with Randy Orton and he has a heel turn? Or what if Cody has Cody's class?
Okay. So you think it's time? So you think the next chapter of Cody Rhodes' story is okay? Cool. What's next on your list, Cody Rhodes? You got to build your own faction. Is this what we talking?
I mean, you just never know, and I'm thinking that's a heel Cody. I don't know if y'all heard. He told Kay Adams of the NFL Network, who's been finding her way into wrestling content like everybody else, when they're over there in LA.
You sound offended.
She said he told her that a baby face time, it was days were numbered on his baby face run. Then I'm hearing conflicting reports said no, he's got 3 to 5 years more as a baby face.
Sure, Lex Express.
And we just know one thing:
never
trust a wrestler.
No, never, ever.
And
especially
Daniel
not these guys.
Bryan.
I don't trust him.
I'm
either.
not going to call him Bryan Danielson, even though he was Bryan Danielson when he told me this.
He's definitely
said Cody Rhodes taught him how to lie.
Yes, he did. Real bad. Cody Rhodes lies real bad, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. So it just had me thinking, like, because this is what we do. We trigger some of these thoughts, and sometimes they Smitty keep Kay Adams away from Ashanti the Adonis. Maryland's own. But yeah, sometimes I just, that's what we do here in the wrestling realm. We've been doing this since 2011.
Long time, brother.
Long time. Where we just sometimes we have these random wrestling thoughts, and sometimes they come true. And then we sit there, and the group message goes, "I told you so." And then what happens usually, breaking the fifth wall, brother.
Brian is his CM. I haven't seen Brian. I'm talking about. I haven't seen Brian in his CM Punk posture in a long time because trust me, he did this in more than one arena, and I'm not doing that.
Because sometimes, sometimes everybody's not watching at the same time.
True. And
we just say, "What are you talking about?" And then we turn on our phones. Oh, thanks for the spoiler.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, what if John Cena and I'm too old to be sitting like this because my foot was starting to fall asleep that fast.
Nah, it's cool, man. You was holding on to it. You keep your youth.
But yeah, what if John Cena? I mean, what if Cody Rhodes creates a faction with his guys?
Does it have to be heel though? See, I'm already on your heels.
See, that's another good one. But you know, people turn their back on Cody. And I mean, if he's not going to win a world championship, maybe that's didn't Brandon see this is what we do? Brandon, didn't you just say Cody, CM Punk at SummerSlam?
True.
There you go. The foreman, the 2 guys, all the AEW guys. Let's print this money.
Is Sean Spears going to be included?
I mean, at this point, throw him in there.
The chairman. Does he still have his faction in NXT? His group?
Yeah, I think they will in there tonight. You know, I'm just back and forth doing this. Yeah, they was on there. He's around, you know, but he does well. I never thought I would care for him, you know, but yeah,
WWE effect, man.
Yeah, just you know what, but see, that's what made me not like him was WWE because he had that dumb name.
Todd Dillinger was kind of the perfect 10 gimmick was cool.
That's the part. It was the perfect 10 part.
Yeah, he could have been a perfect 10 Sean Spears.
EC3 came.
Yeah.
And he would have played it out better.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So let's wrap this up. It's time to go home. We did a good job today, fellas. What are we saying? I call Randy Orton.
Oh,
go ahead.
Finish this. Because we didn't. I just can't believe I just thought about this. We didn't talk about the pipe bomb.
Okay.
And the only reason why I double back is because we never talked about it in the group chat. So I haven't heard y'all thoughts on it.
I think we've been in different spaces when that happened. I checked my phone and said, "Does anybody else say anything?" I said, "Everybody might be busy." So yes. So are we all going with Randy Orton as far as the 2025 King of the Ring, or does anybody have anything different?
Something about King Cody just don't feel right. It's just
I feel like because he won last year.
No, he didn't win last year. He won.
No, he won in Jeddah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not doing the belt anymore. Wasn't that for the?
No, that's a different pay-per-view. Remember?
That's Crown Jewel.
Crown Jewel. That's the
Crown Jewel champion.
Ring in the
this is in Rita.
Yeah, he's not winning this.
Okay,
I give it to Randy only because I hate to say this. Triple H has just changed my mind of thinking so much. Like, all right, what is the most randomest thing, or what is the thing that nobody's even considering? Yep. And he's been throwing so much nostalgia at us all the last 2 years, and callbacks and everything that they can do. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that is. I don't think we still got a Roman lurking for whatever reason because I think he's going to be the one to take the title from Cena to get it back to him. I don't think Cody is the one that takes it from him because
you don't think Roman. I don't mean to disrupt your whole train of thought, but I got to throw a wrench in this one, brother. I'm sorry. You don't think that Roman doesn't eventually go after Seth Rollins and becomes the
well? That's why I said remember when I said. When Seth Rollins won the briefcase, I was like, oh, no. But I was like, oh, so Roman can be a thorn in his side. That's going to be that story. So that's what I'm saying. So, and even if, and I hate the thought of a cash in, we might get thrown all the way through a loop and Seth come cash in on Saturday. But I hope we don't. I think that we need to hold off on that. Let him carry it for a while.
We should get Gunther versus Roman and let them fight it out, see who gets their hands on eventual Seth Rollins.
But everybody got history with Seth, so
true.
I mean, I don't know if Triple H, and I know he's listening because he always listens to the Wrestling.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Don't change your plans because of what we said. But I do think
Paul,
Randy and what you call it is going to be that SummerSlam match. 18 years in the making. This is Randy's last chance at the WWE Championship while I hold it. So as long as I got this title, since I'm the last world champion, you're done. I think that's the match. I hate this storytelling. This left field stuff is really getting me. So I'm trying to think like Triple H.
Yeah, good luck with that. But Randy Orton winning at SummerSlam, a returning Randy Orton, by the way. A Mr. wasn't supposed to wrestle anymore against John Cena, like you said. You mentioned all the history, so you know they're going to do all the storytelling before you get to the ring. half the work is going to be already done with the video packages and the history and the because they already started doing it with CM Punk and John Cena. I was like, see, there we go. It's like they're like, oh, the yin and the yang. They've always been connected to each other, but now the Raw. I said, oh, see, I see what you're doing now. They don't even have to do anything once they get to the ring. They just got to finish up what you already started. But that's how you also sell your pay-per-views and you protect your vets.
And I think that's why the pipe bomb. I think that's why that pipe bomb went over everybody's head because they fed us so much other stuff. Nobody could focus on that. More people was worried about he used their actual other names outside of WWE. He didn't say Claudio. He said Claudio Casanova. He said Nick Nemeth. And everybody knows
Matt Cardona.
Matt Cardona would have made a shirt that said "Hi, John Cena."
Yeah, I was about to say.
Did he make?
Hi, Matt Cardona.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's going to make money off anything.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, capitalizing." So everybody said, "Oh my God, he said these names." It was so many people was eating that one part up. They didn't even dive into the rest of what he said. They was just eating that one part up, saying, "Oh, that was from Matt Jackson."
Wall.
Hey, look,
and
Matt
then Matt and then Matt Cardona went to GCW and did the same thing. He sat at the top rope and he said, "Hey, John Cena."
When did y'all think? When did y'all realize we was getting a Pipe Bomb 2.0 or the sequel?
It didn't hit me until I saw him kind of like sitting up there, and I was like, "Oh, he's about to do the thing." I didn't know. I thought he was shooting from the hip at first. Go ahead, brother guy.
No, I was saying the same thing. I said, "Oh, here we go." And I told Brother Hugh this. I said, I can't deny it. Nick Ram from Four Sides of the Ring had an argument about you remember the promos more than you do the match. John Cena has to be the best when you put a microphone in his hand. Like nobody can. He's made me realize, good point, more than everybody else. Yeah. Even to the point when he destroyed Cody in that promo battle. He can destroy the best of them. Just put the mic in his hand. He's going to destroy, and he's going to make you remember. You can remember this promo.
He definitely made Roman Reigns learn a new hole. Like he buried the big dog in one fell swoop, and
it's not easy to do.
And when he came back,
called out the Rock.
Chief. It was better. Oh gosh.
When he called out,
we ain't got to talk about that.
That thing was that's when we should have realized that John Cena is dangerous, but this man will go there.
It was the fact he went there.
Yeah.
It was the fact he went there. And I remember when they talked about it on their Rivals episode, it was like certain things you just don't do. And you remember Big Show's back? I was like, that took a lot of balls because you're messing with the money. And we had this conversation here. It was never held anywhere else, but held right here on Wrestle Realm Now podcast, where Adam Page messed with the money and hurt the money with CM Punk. John Cena had that clout to do that because at the end of the day, as much as I'm a Rock fan, The Rock wasn't there every day. So he could have that leg to stand on. Not anybody could. Adam Page wasn't in a position to do that. And I was sitting there watching this, and I remember this was Friday. It was the moment he said, "You see, I don't hate you, CM Punk. As a matter of fact, I like you very much." When he said that, I said, "Wait a minute." and so, full disclosure, I'll tell you exactly what. So Friday, my lady was here and she was falling asleep. I was, whoa, you wake up right now. John Cena is on and he's cutting a promo and he's doing the Pipe Bomb 2.0. I said, because it was that moment when he looked at him and then was so, let's take this a step further, right? We had this whole conversation about R-Truth 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. That is why R-Truth is on the roster. Right there. Because when you think about it, like, why is R-Truth and John Cena having a match on a random SmackDown? But it was a personal beef. You're thinking, why is he wasting his dates? Oh, because it's putting back into place what happened. It was R-Truth and John Cena that night. Yep. R-Truth beat Cena, put him through the table, and CM Punk came out, did the thing. This time is different. Obviously, R-Truth was not, victorious, but CM Punk was distraction. CM Punk sitting through the table. John Cena's talking down to him. And this is why, because those are certain holes in stories that you can put our truth in. So when this was happening, I was like, this is why our truth was here. That was before I realized it was Pipe Bomb 2.0. So overall, it was phenomenal.
Just like AJ Styles. That I don't, like I said, thank God we live in the era that we live in, because people were able to go back and watch that. Because like I said, I don't think everybody caught it at first.
You know what the funny thing is, though, real quick? I'm glad you said that, because it just triggered another thought. They had just ran a beautiful package.
Yep.
If you watch SmackDown, like, you know, all the way through, they had just ran the package from their rivalry before, and then they closed it out with this. Man, I was like, you know, and that's the one thing WWE knows how to do, is bounce back from a you know, bad PR. They're saying, because R-Truth getting cut was bad PR. Let's call it for what it is.
Oh yeah, big time. You kidding me?
And they just like that
found a way to get back in people's good graces. That's the one thing I do applaud both Triple H and Nick Khan for, the tag team champions of the world, is that they're seemingly not as stubborn. Like, look, if the fans want this, let's just give them what they want. You know what I mean? Not like I hear them, but they don't know what they want. They're just having a moment. You know what I mean? Because I'm telling you, I was a hop, skip, and a jump away from, like, you know what? Let me try to adjust to this AW and TNA lifestyle, even though I don't, you know what I mean? Because I was like, I will not sit here and tolerate this foolishness if this is the type of time we on. But yes, brothers, I think we did it. I think we've changed some minds. I think we came to some conclusions, and I can honestly say I can walk away with a better idea of what we're probably going to get at Night of Champions, as well as, you know, moving forward. You got SummerSlam, you got Evolution 2, I guess you call it, and then we got Saturday night's main event. So much more coming up, but I think we did an excellent job, especially on this special Tuesday night at a special time slot. But until then, like I said, we're going to ride up to the sunset, and we're going to enjoy Night of Champions this Saturday. And of course, follow us on all our social media platforms at Wrestling Realm. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube at The Wrestling Realm. Follow Championship Culture on Instagram at Championship Culture _, as well as stay up to date with all the information. Don't forget youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm playlist. Championship Culture is where you can find all of season 4 as it is underway. There's so much more to come. And go back and watch season 3, season 2, season 1, bonus episodes, especially one with Brother Claus when Santa Claus had unboxing championship belts, which is always fun. As well as tomorrow, the special time slot, Wednesday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time for Championship Culture. Remember, we switched time slots. So this is our normal Championship Culture time slot. It's usually every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm. But this week, it is on Wednesday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, yes, the realness joins Brother Guy, and we are going to have a long, drag-out debate about the United States Championship and the Intercontinental Championship. We're going to talk about its lineage versus the legacy, the design versus the copycats, the matches versus the moments, all the above. We are not going to leave any crumbs on the table when it comes to this one. So if you don't come to the feast when the food is being served, you ain't finna eat. But we will. We're going to have a good time with that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're still waiting for Brother Hugh to get back off of his yacht. He's probably still there, calling us a bunch of gumps while he's sipping on my ties.
Hold on, let me do something real quick. I'm gonna break a wall real quick, cause let me tell you, Brother Hugh. I got a chance to see Brother Hugh the other day, and the brother was looking good.
Was he preparing to go on his yacht?
The brother was looking good. Congratulations to a good friend, my sister Amber Rodriguez. I'm not gonna reveal her new name, so we're gonna call her Amber Rodriguez. But yeah, she got married, wedding ceremony. So you know, I was there with her and her good husband, good brother Asuka, and Brother Hugh there. He showed out, as you can see, custom made.
Is that Brother Hugh? Is that Brother Hugh, or is that Caprice Coleman?
He ain't lying.
Oh, he does. Oh man.
Hey man, Caprice Coleman, good friend of the program, who
Listen,
will be
Caprice-
in Ashe Wrestling this weekend.
Caprice Coleman will pray for you, drop kick you, and read you some scripture all at the same time.
Yes, sir.
And is one heck of a commentator, and then will call his own match if need be.
Yeah, and look, I told you, me and Caprice Coleman had a conversation about Quartet at Wale Mania 7 in Dallas. So that is a good brother right there, man. That is a good brother. Just like Brother Hugh.
Yep, this is for you, Brother Hugh.
You keep talking to me like this, I'm going to take you to dinner and I'm paying. You will not leave the tip. I will leave the tip.
Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of Brother Hugh, we are out of here. We will catch you next week. Wrestling fans, as usual, stay wrestling fans. We out of here. Peace.